Sorry, my mic's not fixed. Welcome back, everyone, to They Fly Now, Season 2, Episode 18.
Woohoo.
Well, we didn't get much news on Disney Plus Day as a whole. We're still going to talk about like what we got, and I feel like we still have enough with the Book of Boba Fett trailer and Marvel to kind of talk about everything. So, welcome back to They Fly Now.
They fly now!
They fly now! They fly now!
And we're live.
All right.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys all for joining us. I don't know what happened to Hannah, but she disappeared. But I'm sure she'll be back soon. But thank you guys all for joining us.
Yeah. And she's returned.
Yeah, I'm so sorry if I made a face just now. I thought I got kicked out of the call and like brought back. Something odd happened, but I'm so excited to be here. Don't let my expression deceive you.
No.
So
Wait, we can't see you.
I can see her.
Oh no!
I can see her on the call.
can't see
Some
you.
nonsense is
Oh.
afoot. I don't
Maybe
know
it's just
what
me.
happened.
It's just me then. You're good.
Can you hear her at least?
Can you hear us? Is she all right? Yeah, I can hear her.
Okay. So yeah, basically just as per usual, it's just I go around like basically like the 3 circle. Just since you're all new, basically I'll go left to right, starting with Emily, Brian, Hannah. Same question as before. Who are you? Where can we find you? And what Star Wars project intrigues you the most? Let's start with Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily. You can find me on TikTok at StardustM and on Twitter at _StardustM. If you can't tell by my username, maybe the project that I am the most intrigued for is Andor.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So why? Is there any reason for that?
I don't know if you know this. I'm a one stan. I know it's really hard to tell sometimes. I'm a huge Rogue One stan. I love Cassian so much, and I also love the Rebellion, so I'm really excited to see more of that and how it developed and how it formed, and also just get 12 episodes of Cassian Andor backstory, because we only got like 25 minutes of him in Rogue One.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. I haven't heard many people that are like mostly excited about Andor. That's
there's
awesome.
it's a small but very passionate group.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
Brian, same question as
I'm Brian. You can find me mostly on Twitter at Gingerbeardman. What's project am I most excited for? I'd probably go with Kenobi at this point, like, the basic answer. I'm very excited for Andor though, because we've seen so little of him. Like, honestly, like Rogue One doesn't give you that much. Other, you can read the book too, but definitely Andor is very exciting.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. You won't see Brian making videos. But he'll definitely comment on them.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
And sometimes he'll get in arguments. Just sometimes, though.
It's really Twitter where he's at, really. Just getting in arguments politically and then causing problems in the Star Wars thing.
Politics and Star Wars, baby, they go hand in hand.
They do.
And Hannah, same thing to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Hannah. You know me as Discount Bo-Katan on TikTok, so that is where you can find me. And I am really excited for Ahsoka because I want them to explore the world between worlds. That is one of the things that gets me super hyped about Star Wars. And I'm also excited for Mando Season 3 because I really want to see what is up with Mandalore, like how they're going to work out all this Darksaber business. More Bo-Katan is always obviously a plus to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty thrilled with all of the upcoming projects.
Is more Bo-Katan a plus though?
Hold on. Do we have Bo-Katan antis here?
No, I would say just Carter probably.
I'm not like anti Bo-Katan,
We got some-
but I definitely get where they're coming from.
I haven't seen all of Bo-Katan, but I like women who make men angry, so she's an A plus in me.
It's just-
Look, she's a villain. She's in the middle of like kind of a redemption arc, and I love her for it.
Yeah.
You don't see enough like, you know, asshole ladies having a redemption arc. That's fun. That's new. That's fresh.
True, that's true. That's actually very true.
But
And
oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, before we get started, shout some people out in the chat. St. Pat, who shout to St. Pat. If you guys look on our YouTube channel, our whole banner is actually designed by St. Pat. So we thank him for that, and big shout out to him. If you need any artwork done, he's definitely one of the guys to go to. Shout out to Pods One Podcast, Star Wars Topics, Kieran Barr, X-Core Gamer Skills, B Dazzler, who we always shout out every week for her awesome store.
Bedazzler plug.
Oh.
Far, far away
Yeah,
factory
same.
plug.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait. I got a few stickers I like to show off.
I couldn't find my shirt. I think
Laptop
it's 30.
sticker from Brooke. The Ahsoka
Hell yeah.
one.
Nice.
And she has some awesome custom shoes that are really cool. Like really
I'm longing
freaking
for the day that
cool.
I finally get one of her jean jackets as well.
Oh my gosh, her jean jackets are so cool. They're all cool. But anything, Hereth, you want to touch on before we kind of get into it?
Nothing really. I was just gonna comment on similar hype for Ahsoka and the War Between Worlds and how they're tying Rebels into the live action world.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I'm super excited for Ahsoka just for live action Ezra and War Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Because we just need to see what they're doing out there, what those few bros are doing in unknown regions.
I'm always surprised by how people really resonate with Ezra. He was like not in my top few characters on that show, but a lot of people really love him, and like I'm glad he's getting that love.
I'm a big time Ezra guy. Like probably my favorite character. Actually, yeah, he's definitely my favorite character in Star Wars. I love Ezra so much.
Yeah. It's kind of Carter's chick.
But my chick, yeah, there's very few of us, just like how Emily was saying with like Andor, like being a most hype show, but they're very passionate. There's the same thing with Ezra fans. There's very few of us, but I feel like we all express our love for him so much. But yeah, let's get into it. So we're gonna just kind of talk about whatever really is relevant in nerdom in general. We're going to talk about a little bit about Book of Boba Fett. We're going to talk about Disney Plus Day as much as we can, and a lot probably more on like the Marvel side and stuff that got released, and then just kind of Marvel in general. And yeah, that's going to be our topics for today. So let's kind of start off with Book of Boba. So we haven't really talked much about Book of Boba Fett on here, but from what we got from the trailer, what are you guys most excited for? And let's go to Hannah first.
There's so much. There's like the Tatooine world building is so exciting to me. Like I feel like I always want to know more about like the gangster stuff, the crime syndicate stuff. So to have like a whole show about that is, woo, it's good. It's all good in my book. I'm really pleased to see that, you know, obviously it's the Fennec Shand show as well as being the Boba Fett show. I do love Fennec, and I'm excited to see how they talk about like their dynamic, especially because they kind of have a life debt situation going on, which we haven't really seen much of outside of like the Wookiee sphere. So I'm very curious as to how that's going to like be a relationship. Because yeah, usually when there's a life death situation going on, we hear the stuff like Knights of the Old Republic and Chewie, who's there partly by choice but partly by life death. And he can't really like articulate his emotions in a way that we can understand and hear. So I'm excited to see if and how that is explored. And also I want to know who this Twi'lek lady is.
Yeah. That Twi'lek lady looks a little bit sus.
A little sus.
And let's go to Brian first.
No, what am I most excited for? The monks. Obviously, the monks. In the spider droids. Brains in a jar.
What?
That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Is that what that is? It's just a brain?
Yes. So, like, it's a way of, like extending your life, right? And so they're, it's all about, like, reaching clearer, higher thought. And so, like, once you reach the highest level of whatever, how their monastery, whatever works, they put your brain in a jar full of nutrients, and the spider part carries it around. Then the rest of eternity thinking, detached from reality.
Yeah.
Of course,
Where is that? Like, where has this been established?
Yeah, where is?
Before? How
Yeah.
before?
So, like, you see one in Return of the Jedi. It's like in the shadows in the background when Luke like walks.
Really?
I think when Luke walks. No, actually, I think it's when R2D2 and C3PO walk in. But you don't really know what it is, and so technically, everyone's arguing with me that it was already canon because it's in there. I'm like, yes, but all the descriptions of it, like what it is, were made not canon. Like whether it was a visual dictionary or anything legend. So, like technically, them being monks wasn't canon until then. So, well, they still haven't said what they are, but we're gonna go with that. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's monks' brains who were taken out, put in a jar, then attached to a spider so they can live for eternity, crawling around on Tatooine.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Just Google them.
That would
What
suck.
quality of life is that? Yeah, like why would you volunteer for it?
It
We
says-
volunteer?
Yeah, it says they appear in the Return to Vader's Castle comic, so that's actually canon. And
Oh
then
my
the
God,
Clone Wars
that's
film,
amazing.
They're mentioned. I don't remember that, but I also haven't seen the Clone Wars film in like since it came out. So like most people, you don't really rewatch that one a lot.
You mean I rewatch it every month?
In that one,
Huh.
You know.
I mostly block it out, I guess.
I honestly forget about it sometimes until
I
like
can't
someone
remember
does
if
a
I
ranking.
finished it.
Yeah, someone does a rankings and they're like Clone Wars film, and you're like, oh yeah, that exists.
You're like,
There's actually 12 films. You're right.
you're like,
And
yeah.
it was released in theaters, which is
We'll
the
go with
craziest thing.
11. Sounds nicer.
It seems like a made for like TV release type thing, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it like
No.
mostly was. Like I know that there was a theatrical release, but it's like mostly for Cartoon Network, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The rumor was for that was it was originally made for the original like 4 episodes of Clone Wars. Lucas came in and was like, no, you're gonna make it a movie because it looks so good. So Filoni's like, I guess we'll just make it a movie because like I'm not gonna say no to Lucas. So
I forget who. There's one creator. I forget who it is. Someone that like their introduction to Star Wars was through the Clone Wars movie. I was like,
how did they watch that first? Also, St. Pat
I
said he
don't
just
know.
rewatched it.
yeah. Okay.
Like, okay,
Good
good job, St. Pat.
I mean, there is some good in it with like Ahsoka's introduction into the Clone Wars. You really get to see that like
Yeah,
first
I
beginning
don't,
stages
like
of that.
hate it. Like people
No.
hate on that movie like it's the worst. I'm like,
it's just
not
like an
my
arc.
favorite.
It's like a mid-tier
Kids.
arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Stinky. I'll go to my grave on this hill. I really do care about that little thing. He's quite likable, I would say. I hate that they're ripping on him this whole time. What did he do to anyone?
Stinky in the book of Boba Fett when?
Like, where is he? Yeah, show me Rada the. Is his name Rada the Hutt? Is
Yes.
that Stinky?
Yes.
Show me,
Yeah.
like, crime lord Rada the Hutt. Where is he? You know, wait a second. Okay. I don't know if I just had a big brain moment. Has anyone else been reading War of the Bounty Hunters, the comic?
I am not caught up.
Yeah.
Kira is in it. She's cool. In it, Jabba is there, and he's with a bunch of other Hutts. Basically, the premise is like the Crimson Dawn is back. Ooh, spooky, scary. Kira's leading it. They like nabbed Kryptonite, or not Kryptonite, oh my god, Carbonite Han Solo from Jabba or Boba, one of them. And they're like auctioning him off to the highest bidder, knowing that Jabba's gonna come and pay like a higher ransom for him. And so the Hutts are all there, but then like Vader comes up and like steals the show and, you know, takes Han, and the other Hutts are like, are you gonna let him get away with this? And then Jabba's like, it's fine. You know what? I don't want to fuck with Vader.
As you do.
You're good.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the rating of this podcast is.
No, you're good.
PG-13.
Okay, cool. So, and then like essentially the other Hutts are like, you've gone weak, and there's this one Hutt that's like ripped. He has like an 8-pack.
Oh, I saw that.
And
Yeah.
he's like always doing this. I think it might be Rada, unless it's somebody else who's already been established.
He just goes to the gym and he's just like constantly just lifting weights. He's like, you know what, Jabba's fat, so I'm gonna get ripped. He's just like the opposite of Jabba.
That monstrosity doing pull-ups. Yeah.
He's just like go like this the entire time. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
But that could be Stinky. It's probably confirmed who he is, and it's probably not Stinky, but like, in my brain, I'm now living in a world where that is Stinky the Hutt, and I'm pretty happy.
Like that would be, you know what, it's probably not Stinky, but if it was, I would laugh and be like, oh my god, that's amazing.
I'm sure the Hutt lifespan doesn't allow for him to have grown up that quickly, but
Is it
whatever.
Gracchus?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm finding here?
Well, it's like 19 years plus.
Yeah, but I feel like Hutts probably live for like 500 years or something
I think
crazy.
a little while, yeah.
So,
It's like a Grogu situation.
yeah.
Yeah, what happened? Let's see, I want to see what happened to Stinky the Hutt now. Does he have a death?
God, I hope not.
I don't think he does. I don't
He
think
just
he
died
does.
he had an off-screen death for Stinky.
Hannah's just gonna become Julia Christine for Corky, but it's just gonna be Stinky.
Oh.
She's gonna be like,
Oh,
where's the
God.
Stinky the Hutt video?
I'm already Julia Christine for Size Noodles.
Just all of them.
I just keep like playing in my mind like the old TikTok sound. I was like, see you later, Stinky, and it sounded like they're like a crocodile into a river. You guys know what I'm talking about?
God.
Yeah, I have not heard that sound, but
You've never seen that?
no.
I must be on a weird side of TikTok, man. And then Em, I don't think we got to you with what you're most excited for with the Book of Boba Fett.
We got distracted by Stinky the Hutt being a lifter, apparently.
I'm excited. I've got a nice little redemption arc with Boba, because I remember when he showed up at The Mandalorian, that one episode, I was legitimately upset. I was like, they did not bring back this overhyped character that has no character development, died in the 80s. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to see more of him. And then he had his full intro, and I was like, okay, wait, maybe this is a Boba Fett that I like. And so now I'm really excited for the Book of Boba. I'm excited to see what they do with his character. I'm excited really for more Fennec Shand, because she's just awesome. I think the plot is cool. I like the crime boss angle, and I like it because, like Hannah kind of brought up, I am very much conspiracy theory Kira is going to show up in this, because why did they bring her back in War of the Bounty Hunters and give her a specific interaction with like Boba Fett? And like, if she's still leading Crimson Dawn, this is a perfect time to bring her back into live action.
Yeah.
And I think and I really, really love Kira, and I want to see her more, and I also really want to see her in a plot that is more separate from like Han and Dryden, where we can really see her as her own character. And I just think it'd be cool to see her interact with Boba Fett. I think that they'd have some fun banter. And I think also Fennec and her, because we love big girl boss power there. So that's exciting. And I also don't know, I'm interested to see if they do anything with the Omega thing, because we got that reveal.
That's
Bad Batch?
like, it's there.
Yeah. The only thing I'd be worried about is her coming and that being some confirmation that the Bad Batch has died. I know that they still have a lot of time, but I'd be sad if we found out that like all of them had passed away.
That would be like the most depressing ending to Bad Batch.
I think they would still give on-screen deaths in the Bad Batch, but I think this might be like, it would be a hint, like, or like some sort of hint that she's like split up with the Bad Batch, and then we'd spend the next couple of seasons or whatever being like, oh, what happens with Omega and like Hunter?
Or is it just like, it could just be like a mutual thing, like they just decide to part ways maybe, which I guess you kind of hope for.
How old would they be? I guess I don't know how, like, if like, I guess they'd be older than Rex in Rebels, right?
Well,
yeah.
They
the-
would they though? Because they're
They
would be older than, I don't know.
It's Clone Force 99, which is like prior to like the 501st. So I would assume that means that it's like an earlier batch.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what that means.
Oh.
Because like it's
Maybe
just
not.
Sorry, I just like
because
those are designations that
'cause-
they make up.
because
I assume they would designate them like chronologically, like.
Well,
Cause-
we know
Yeah.
Omega is older than them.
Yeah.
Because she said
Yeah,
she
because she
remembers that they
says.
kill. And she would be
Yeah.
the same age as, would she be younger than Boba or the same?
I think they'd be the same age because they were
I
made at
think
the
they're the
exact same time.
age, yeah.
Oh, okay. Boba Fett's like, I don't want another kid.
It's like Jango's like, I want my son, and then the daughter can go screw off somewhere.
Well, yeah, because
You know?
when we see Boba in Clone Wars, he's about the same maturity level as. I mean, not maturity level because he's pretty mature, but like he's looks like the same age,
Yeah.
right?
I just had a thought. Do you remember that lady who they couldn't figure out who she was gonna play in Kenobi when the cast list was like sort of first? What if that's Omega? That could be interesting.
Wait,
More likely
hold
an
on. I
original.
need to look at a cast list.
Yeah, wait.
Because I know when I was on Dyad, I was looking at when they announced the cast list. I was looking at the cast list. There was like a couple characters I was like, okay, one of them is definitely an Imperial, one of them is someone else.
So the only thing I'd be worried about is like, I feel like in live action it would be especially important to make her Maury, given that Tamara Morrison is Maury.
Yeah.
So I know that.
I
Like,
remember, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what the cast list like, who that consisted of. I just remember there was like a lady who was like, and I don't remember.
Yeah.
What she looked like at all.
Well, so right now we have like the confirmed castings are Hayden Christensen, Vader, obviously Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, Sung Kong, I think that's how you say it, is the fifth brother. Joel
I forgot
Edgerton.
Camille is gonna be in this.
Joel Egerton is supposed to be Owen Lars, and Bonnie Picey is supposed to be Baru Lars.
Yeah, they're reprising the roles from Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, yeah. Well, besides Sung Kang, his
Yes.
fifth brother.
Well, that's the
And
assumption. That's
hasn't
not
one of the women in the cast has been spotted in an Imperial officer uniform on set?
Yeah. And
it's hard to say.
again, I don't.
And then I would guess one of them might be the Inquisitor from the concept art.
Yeah. Which everyone thinks is Trilla for some reason, even though she's canonically dead for 5 years.
Wait, they think
So I
Trilla's in
will
that
say,
concept art?
Yeah, because there's a concept art of a female Inquisitor, but it looks at the
People
similar
don't
design.
understand the timeline between that.
Yeah,
this
there's
and,
no way. it could
Jedi
be
Fallen
Trilla.
Order.
Trilla definitely died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler, sorry.
I mean, I'm working on playing the game, and I already knew that.
Yeah.
How she gets ended.
She gets smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that scene is really crazy.
I just want to say about Boba, like, can you imagine growing up on Camino, like, with a bunch of clone cadets and, like, with, like, how fast they age around you? Like, your friends, like, 1 year are, like, 25, 30 the next year, and then, like, the year after that, they're, like, full-grown adults who just, like, what's up, Mike? And it's, like, and they look like your dad now. Like, that's gotta be, like,
and they, like, weren't letting you hang out with the one other person who was your age for some reason.
It's so weird to think, like, if you think about
does
the
he know
ages-
Omega exists? Because, like, wasn't she, like, almost like a secret? Like,
Who, Boba?
no, Omega. Like, you see her walking around, but, like, you don't see her.
I
That's
guess
later on.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
know.
I guess we don't see her till I haven't watched all the Clone Wars, but when I got the impression that that was the first time we'd seen her was in the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was.
Oh, okay.
We don't see Omega in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, she wasn't in the Bad Batch arc. I know. I see that.
We kind of assume, like, obviously she has to, like, go out and, like, eat, possibly, unless they have food brought to the lab, but, like, she probably spends most of her time in the lab with
Yeah, and like, why
Mama
was she
Mama
like
Sarah.
a
No,
What's
saying
up?
the droid,
What's
yeah.
that?
a
What's the
nursing
droid's name?
apprentice? So
Uh-huh.
odd to me. I'm still gonna put that one together.
Also, going back to the Imperial thing, Levi Bond did answer our question. She was spotted in an Imperial outfit during a leak.
Okay.
So
Mm.
we know
Okay.
one of them is in an Imperial outfit. We don't know what the other
So-
female is. And
Yeah, but I don't think they could. Moses Ingram is one of the other girls. She's darker skinned, so I don't think that would work. And then Maya Erskine, maybe, or Simone Kessel. So if it's
Maya
gonna be one of
Erskine from Pen 15.
from what's she in? Let's see, movies and TV shows.
If Maya from
15
Pen
plus
15 is in
one.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
No, she is. Yeah, from Pen 15.
that's amazing.
I'm so glad we just got to experience that.
Oh, I love it, but I hate it. Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Good on Kumail for getting top bidding on IMDb for Kenobi. Damn, my man.
Oh,
Above Vader and Obi-Wan.
that's good for him. He's on
You're in
the,
one Marvel movie and
seriously
suddenly
on the rise.
Can someone tell me, though, why when you search Kenobi cast, it says, O'Shea Jackson Jr., and then next to him is his dad, Ice Cube? And Chaco made a video on that, but, like, he's not actually, like, in the cast,
Yeah,
right?
I think
That's
he
just, like,
is.
some
He's
Google
not-
thing.
Oh yeah,
He's
why
not-
is Ice Cube there? I just noticed that.
I think it's just a Google, like, thing, like, because they're, like, lumping them together for some reason because of Google searches.
If you go to
Well,
images,
there was also that whole
you can see it on the. It's one of the things that comes up. I just put it on screen for everybody, so we know what we're talking about.
Okay, I was gonna ask you.
There
to
was
do
also-
that, but let it go.
that one thing where like Denise Goth and Kyle Soller accidentally got placed in the Kenobi IMDb, even though they had been confirmed for Andor, and then everyone was freaking out. They were like, "It's Satine and Corky." Probably not Satine and Corky. Well, I will for Julia. Kyle still could be Corky, but I definitely do not think it's Satine.
Well, and look at the cast: Kumal, I don't want to butcher the name.
Nanjiani.
Yeah.
Nanjiani from Eternals, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's sweet. Oh my gosh, he was like the best part of Eternals.
And he's climbing that ladder. I mean, there was this TikTok I saw recently about the Chris Pratt pipeline, where it's like you start as like a lovable comedic actor, and then you start getting like all of these like serious action movie roles, and people start to like you less. I hope that doesn't happen to Kumail. He's like a funny dude.
He's awesome. From what I saw, and I don't like know him, but I saw him in Eternals, and I was like, this guy's really funny.
I went to a Hassan Minaj comedy show last week, and he was talking about like people got ripped, and he put up a picture of Kamal, and he said, "That's a personal attack," because he was talking about like like, you know, the Indian kind of, I think Kamal's Pakistani, but like actors, and like how he got all ripped and it set this bar really high for the rest of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that cast is like stellar.
Yeah.
One thing that I wish for Kenobi is I just want to see the Pikes
Ooh.
blowing a fat cloud on live action.
Stop the cap.
Like the caterpillar from, you know, Alice in Wonderland. Disney said it before, they'll do it again. Bop, bop, bop.
So funny.
Oh
Because I was just rewatching season 6 of Clone Wars today, and I got to the Sifo DS episode, and just like you walk into the Pikes, and they're just like.
Like, it's canonically they're just chain smokers at this point. They're just smoking weed. Come on. It's just spice. It's canon.
Yeah.
I was like,
Can't-
what is Rupert Frieden? And I was like, oh, the only thing I know him in is Pride and Prejudice. That's the only thing I know him from.
No, he was in Homeland. Come on.
King.
Does
He
no
played
one
the
else
worst
watch
character in Pride and Prejudice. It's like fucking weirdo.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, shout out some more people in the chat. We got Levi Bond decided to stop by, Element 7, Star Wars Lawyer, Nico Skywalker. Thank you all for joining. Sorry I had to do that.
So, again, I was gonna point out another thing in the casting list. So I know this is like a year old, but still. I think you guys are confusing, I'm gonna mispronounce her name. Born Plessé? It's like, she was the... Because they group them together, I think she was Aunt Beru in the prequel trilogy.
Oh.
Bonnie.
Yeah.
Bonnie.
No, because like,
Did you
it's
say
like really,
Bonnie?
yeah, it was like really compressed. Because like I was looking at an image on like the OBS screen, so it was like really compressed
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
small. Like,
I got
Is she who plays Aunt Beru?
Pretty sure, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she is. Yep, she is. Yes, she is. I think it's amazing how well the cast aged.
yeah.
Like, it's like they're like the perfect age now. They've like timed out perfectly. It's same
My-
thing with Ian McDermott. Ian McDermott was Palpatine in the original, right? And then by
All
the time
3
it,
times. And
yeah,
then you
that's
needed-
crazy, and it like works perfectly. Like that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
My
like,
sister-
I love that.
Did for some reason think that Owen was played by Alec Baldwin. And like we had to have a whole discussion when the cast list came out where she was like, is Alec Baldwin in that? I was like, that's not fucking Alec Baldwin. She's like, they look identical. I was like, they don't.
You might have been thinking of Alec Guinness, like in the vein of actors who were in A New Hope. I don't know.
I don't know.
I know she was
about
definitely
that.
thinking of Alec Baldwin because she thought that him and Joel looked alike. Like it was like she thought that was just Alec Baldwin. I was like, no.
that's hilarious.
That is actually really funny. But yeah, Hereth, if you wanna keep moving on here.
Yep, let's keep moving. Okay. So obviously, again, I think we kind of like wrapped up with our like Book of Boba Fett talk. Like, we basically went through everything like most excited for, and then M talked about like cameos. We guess we can go around one more time and talk about that. If you guys have any more to add on that, right there, like you guys think we're gonna get any more surprise cameos? Hannah, Brian,
In Kenobi or Book of Boba?
Book of Boba. Sorry, I'm changing gears because we went to Kenobi because we were talking about like the conversation cycle.
Of known characters already. I don't know. I'm sure somebody, but no one I can like. Obviously, it's not going to be like Han, Leia, or Luke. You know, but
Yeah. People think actually Han's gonna appear.
It could, but I really doubt we're gonna see like, you know, Han somewhere in between.
I believe in Alden returning eventually.
It'd be interesting if they were able to put him in there.
Because they could do
I
Battlefront
would-
2 style Han with the beard and everything.
I would think it would be more of a Luke Skywalker sort of cameo at the end rather than like a actual like
Mm-hmm.
big role. Because I know that some people were mentioning like, oh, maybe he wants to visit Han because like technically he was the one who put him in the Sarlacc pit.
Boba would be like, yo,
Oh.
you can get service.
I don't believe in that revenge thing because honestly, I feel like this Boba is like kind of like a galaxy brain Boba. He's had time to reflect, and like he knows that Han was just doing what he had to do. He would have done the same to Han. It's a dog eat dog world.
Well, hold on. Han
No personal
blind.
grudges. Respect. Bounty hunters. They know the drill.
Yeah, Han wasn't really like all there. I wouldn't say Han did
You
it.
just kicked. He
Yeah.
kicked his leg and someone was riding on him. I don't think we relate to that at all.
Yeah.
Boba's much more focused on his crime bossing. He doesn't have time for this. He's making money moves.
He is-
They're gonna hug it out. What are you guys talking about? They're gonna hug it out and become best bros.
Oh,
I just imagine
I
like,
would pay a lot of money for a Han Solo Boba Fett hug.
they're just like, yo, what's up?
Like, you know, man, I am
Sorry.
so sorry.
I knocked you inside that giant like monster thing in the ground, but like you survived, so it's okay. You're good.
Nobody can survive or nobody can die a real death in Star Wars. If people like them, they'll resurrect anyone. I don't know how I feel about, any of it. Who is next? Who is next that is back
It is
from
the most
grave?
soap
They'll
opera
protect
thing
Yeah.
now that like Boba can just like, you're like he's dead, and then 30 years later, I know like he comes back in Legends, doesn't he? But like,
Yeah, he goes in the Starlight Pit twice in Legends, which is funny.
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Well, one of the times he has like a conversation with it, and then talks his way out. Then right when he gets out, he's on a Jawa, whatever they're called, the big sand crawlers,
Yeah.
and like he's like on the top of it, and then the Jawas like gang up and like kick him down
It's
into
hilarious.
the Sarlacc again.
And that's how he
And then-
died? Oh,
No, because then
He gets out
I
again.
forget. I think he gets out again. I think the first time he like talks to it somehow. Then the second time he like just blasts his way through it.
this is
Like,
making me
kills
think
it.
of like the Jenny Nicholson video about let's write a Star Wars Legends book. Who cares what we put in here? Just do whatever you want. Let's come up with our OC and have it be Boba Fett. Like,
No, that's so funny. That
I mean, but if you're gonna go like full soap opera, it's like he comes back with someone else's face, and
oh my god.
James Franco shows
He
up
took
playing a
Starlight's
character named
face and
Franco.
fucked up.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Em, do you have any surprise cameos
I
that you think will be in Book of Boba besides Kira?
I think those are all of mine. Like I said, Omega maybe. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only other one I think would be surprise would be like it wouldn't be like a surprise, but it would be would be Din, just for a scene or whatever. I guess we don't, because everyone kind of maybe thought it was Pedro Pascal's voice in the trailer.
Yeah. Which
But
I think
I don't know.
I think personally for Pedro Pascal's voice, I think it's just an uncredited voice role, kind of like Mark Hamill does occasionally for Star Wars. He'll just do like a voice role uncredited. So maybe it's just like a translator voice.
That's what I was thinking
I'll have
as
to go
well.
and listen to it because I didn't hear that the first.
Neither did I.
It kind of sounded like him, but it I was kind of on the fence. I was like, yeah, I could see it, but I can also see where it's just like a translator voice that kind of sounds the same because of how they distort his voice in the first place with the helmet on.
Yeah.
True.
No, yeah, totally. I'm surprised none of you guys said. Wait, do we get to Hannah? I think we did.
I have no ideas. I'm thinking I'm on the Kira train now that Emily's brought it up. Because I really I had been thinking about what are they gonna do with her now that she has been in all these comic book runs. And it's clicking. It's all clicking.
Show us the girl boss. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl bosses.
I'm surprised none of you guys said Cad Bane.
Oh my god.
That's what everyone's saying in the chat right now.
I know, but I just don't care.
I'm kind of so on Cad Bane.
I know.
You guys really want live action Cad Bane? Because like no one's gonna be happy. I swear everyone's gonna be like, looks terrible. This is not what I want. He doesn't look like
Or the actor they picked, he's like, oh, it's not enough like Clone Wars Cad Bane or Bad Batch Cad Bane. This is horrible.
I mean, let's be honest though. Cad Bane just looks like a Martian, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Classic
like
Martian. With the
Let
head.
Yeah.
let Fennec just take him out this time. No hands. He's done.
You're just like standing at the gate, like knock on the door, like C-3PO, and then Fennec just snipes him from the side. Boom, he's gone, and then everyone's like, "What? The frick was
That's
that?"
the opening scene.
Personally, I would want Cad Bane, not just because I think everyone's still going to complain about it, but I think story-wise, there is a potential between Boba and Cad, and then now we have Finnick and Cad with Bad Batch. I think there is story there that could be interesting with that. Again, it's just about the exexecution.
Okay, Kira kills Cad then.
Kira just kills Cad. It's just out of nowhere.
That's the move.
It's just like Boba, Fennec, and Kira beating the crap out of Cad Bane for like 10 minutes.
It just shows up and just kicks the shit out of him.
Would love to see that. I really like. I don't know. Everyone's like enthusiastic about Cad Bane that I hear, and he's just never gotten me all riled up like that. I don't know. I'm never as enthused by him as the people around me seem to be.
I think a lot it's like a nostalgic factor that like, oh, we grew up with this really cool bounty hunter, kind of like the same way that Boba Fett was before we got anything on him. Like, I was like, oh, Boba Fett's so cool. Like, oh, Cad Bane's so cool.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cad Bane was only ever in the animated shows, right? Like he came out in what, the third season of Clone
I don't
Wars?
have the same.
Second, he's
Cad
in the
Bane.
first. He's in the first arc of the second season with like the holocron heist and stuff like that.
But everyone's like, he's like my favorite bounty hunter. I'm like,
Uh,
I don't know. I'm indifferent. He's cool, but like, I'm not like, oh my god, Cad Bane's back. Like, honestly, like, I do really like Boba Fett. Don't tell Char I said that. But like, he's not the greatest character in all of Star Wars. Because like I like to dunk on Char with, like, in the movies he did nothing. He killed nobody, and then he died in the most hilarious fashion. Because George Lucas is a comedian. Like, if you watch, come on, if you watch Under the Helmet, like when they were filming the stunt scene of that, like, it's just the funniest thing ever. They're just like, he's just gonna fly, bang off this wall, and roll across the ground and fall to this death pit. Like, okay, bye.
You could tell Lucas
That's it.
did not have like a grip on like what Boba was as a character. He's like, oh, he's a bounty hunter, he was cool, and he didn't realize like how like popular of a character he was.
yeah.
I think Tamara Morrison, not to shade because I think that it's Jeremy who originally played Boba is really great. But I do think Tamara Morrison brings a certain charm to Boba that was lacking, and I don't know if like he hadn't played Jango, if so many people would still be that interested in the character.
I agree.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
agree.
And it was the first time they had lines or a personality, so you know that helps.
He in was it Empire Strikes Back? He had what, like 3 lines?
Yeah, it was like take
He had a
Captain
few
Solo to the
lines.
cargo
He was
hold.
like, yes, sir. I'll go kill Han Solo, sir.
Yeah, it was like a
And
couple
then
lines.
Darth
like-
Vader's like, no disintegrations. He's like, okay.
Yeah, it was a couple lines like take Captain Solo to the cargo hold, like that kind of stuff. Like I want him alive, that kind of. It was like very very basic stuff. And-
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Could we? I haven't read Aftermath, but I've heard that Embo is in Aftermath, and I don't know if that's like a possibility that Embo could be in Book of Boba.
I think that's not out of the question because like
If you want him to, he's there, Carter. Okay.
Could.
you know the character I want to show up in any of the shows going forward. It could be Book of Boba, it could be Ahsoka, it could be Mando season 3. Because I can see him fit in all 3. Give me some Hondo Anaka. Hondo Anaka would be
Yeah,
great
you are
in Book of
too.
Boba.
And he's probably gonna show up in something. Probably.
They just used the like animatronic from Disney for the
Yeah, I was
live
like,
action Hondo.
I was like, I think they became confident in themselves because they did the animatronics, so they're like, okay, we can make him look good in live action. Unlike some of the other characters, I feel like they're really holding off on Zeb or any Lasat because they're like, this could turn out horrifying.
Did you say Orla Lasat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I love Zeb so much, and I would love to see him in live action. I fear for the day that happens because I am so.
The furries will go
It's gonna-
wild.
I feel like it's gonna tip into Uncanny Valley.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it would kind of.
Okay,
Yeah.
new idea. We're gonna see, like, even if he doesn't speak, we're gonna see Poe Dameron. Okay, there you go. I've spoken it into existence now.
Oscar
He-
Isaac.
he's like, that's when he would have been like still doing crime shit, because of course he's a spice runner like every other
How old was
What if
person
Poe
of color
during?
in Star Wars.
How old was Poe during?
Oh, wait,
He was
wait.
born in
Poe was
two-
born
He's
like
the same age as
2
Kylo,
years
I
older.
think.
Yeah, he was born in 281.
He's 2 years older than Kylo.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's a kid. I'm
And,
kidding.
you know-
He'd only be like 8 or something, right? He's
Probably
standing
5
there.
even.
Baby
When does this
Poe
take
Dameron.
place? Is this what year is this?
It's
I thought it was
5
was it
years.
5 or
Like, I
6?
think it's 6 or 6.
Okay, so he's a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Okay, he's still standing there. I don't know. Or shoehorn R2 and C3PO into the show. Like they did in the animated shows.
Just or Rogue
And
One
every-
style.
And Rogue.
Brooke makes a good
Said the
point.
word.
She said-
You said the word.
Brooke says, she says, Gerald Paul looked pretty good. And he was a mocap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still think he's a little scary.
Yeah.
I got
He
as
is
far
pretty
as that in Fallen Order, and I was like, oh no.
Okay, what if we see like someone from Rebels? I don't know, like Zeb's just standing there on the side,
Doing nothing. Chopper just like flies through Boba's like throne room and then just leaves.
You just like hear him. Yeah, you just see the.
Well, it is a Dave Filoni joint, and that might be how he makes his cameo in this one.
It's like, bow, bow, bow.
Is Chopper.
If it-
Is any of this possible? Sure. Is any gonna happen? Not likely. This is your show. You can do whatever you want.
Element says, but then again, Quinlan Voss.
oh my god.
Oh my god.
I mean,
Quinlan would be, getting up there in age, but he'd still be rocking.
he's back on Tatooine just because.
just
Yeah, he's just like sitting there, like looking cool, like he did in the Phantom Menace. Just having a drink at the cafe,
He's undercover by Luke Skywalker or
He
something
was in the
stupid.
Phantom Menace? Is that why he's everywhere?
Yes, so in the Phantom Menace, he was just an extra, right? Like just painted to look like somebody who was there. And they decided
Yeah.
because he looked cool,
hmm
they would make him a character with a name and a
Of
backstory.
course.
Well,
That's how anything gets made into anything in Star Wars. But I had no idea. I thought that he was like an original character. No, it's just
No,
kind
Kind
of
of, yes.
So
Kind of,
he's-
though.
He's seen whenever it's Qui-Gon. I think Anakin and Obi-Wan are with him, and they're walking down the street of Naboo. And it's like whenever like Jar Jar, like sticks his tongue out, gets like the weird chicken-looking thing, and then he gets like slapped off.
Yes.
And then I
Well,
think it's like
Obi-Wan's not there.
I'm pretty sure it's like right after Jar Jar gets like beaten up or whatever that the Quinlan Voss inspiration was. I could be wrong, but I'm
I think
pretty
so.
sure it's right then.
Also, you said
need
Naboo,
to
but you
do
meant
this.
Tatooine.
I meant Tatooine, yeah.
But like, the question is always like, how did like Obi-Wan not like see a fellow Jedi just like chilling there on a secret undercover mission that's what they wrote.
He's a
in the ship.
rogue.
I mean, the question is always like, if you really thought about it, it's like, how many Jedi are there? Would you actually know all of them? It's like knowing everyone in your college, like
Yeah.
it's thousands, like, but they make it then seem like he's notorious enough that Obi-Wan would, or that
My God, yeah,
Qui-Gon
he
would know
only
he is,
exists
so.
to react to Jar Jar's antics.
Yes.
yeah.
So then either that or just,
Whoa.
Qui-Gon is just the coolest cat ever and just doesn't, pay him any. He's like, okay,
He's just like whatever.
there's just a guy here.
He's like,
Nothing to see here.
I
My
assume-
confession is, I don't know who Quinlan Voss is, and at this point, I am too afraid to ask.
Oh,
Wait, how far?
what?
How far
I
are you in
haven't
the
gotten
Clone
his
Wars?
part of the Clone Wars. Everyone talks about him, and then Dark Disciple, and I'm like, for
You'll get there
sure.
eventually.
Wait,
You'll get there
how
eventually. It's
how
okay.
far are you in Clone Wars?
I've jumped around because I watched some clone-centric arcs for Bad Batch, but I think I'm like 5 or 6 episodes into season 2.
Okay.
Okay.
You're not too far.
Can I
Like,
think when does he comes in season 2, I think.
pretty early on, yeah.
Okay.
I think he's in the middle of season 2, if I remember correctly.
Levi
And
is
then
making trivia questions now in the chat, like how much money the
It's in Jar Jar 07 Whoopie.
Whoopie. That was one of the questions on the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? That's a tough. Yeah, I do. So I was right. I was pretty close. I think I was actually dead on. I said right after Jar Jar.
What did he eat though? I can't remember. Was it like a monkey?
Levi definitely knows that. I know Levi.
Of course, Levi.
knows
But the problem is, it's like it'll take him 15 seconds to get this video.
to look it up.
Watching.
Yeah.
True.
There is a delay between like when we're saying
Just a
something.
delay.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
Wait,
No, we're not gonna vamp for 15
and
seconds.
he-
The boy,
Anyway.
Levi.
Well, in this band,
Yeah.
I always
Drumroll.
hear my Quinlan Voss thing.
Yes.
Is that I don't remember him being particularly interesting. He seemed cool, I guess, but I really do think the reason why people like remember him and he sticks around is because it's that like gray Jedi itch that everyone has to want to be like a rogue
Yeah.
Jedi, but not a Jedi. You
Yes.
know?
And Element just has a weird obsession with him.
Well, again, I haven't read Dark Disciple yet, but Dark Disciple is the main reason why people are so obsessed with Quinlan Voss, because he has like that. He goes through an insane character arc in that story, and then Carter's talking to TikTok Live again.
But I mean, like, I'm sure it's also like because of like things like the internet, which were becoming obviously like a thing in the early 2000s. Because like
Yeah.
before, if this was like the 80s, no one would have had anywhere to share like a screenshot of him. Like there was, so you posted on the message boards, like the
Yeah.
forums that were there back in the day, and they're like, people doing screen grabs and stuff. And so this dude looks cool, and then I guess
Yeah.
this film was like, I guess he does. Okay, he's now a person with a name.
He's like, now he exists in...
I think I just remember him getting. I remember him getting a good bit of hype, like not related to the book. I don't know when the book came out, but I do remember there being some like people who were into that before Dark Disciple, or at least they weren't referencing it. So I don't know. Like I don't know that that's necessarily. I'm sure that some of the hype comes from there, but also like I feel like there are people who haven't read the book and just like him because he's like, yeah, I'm a rogue, I don't know.
It is funny that like there's a deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith of him getting like destroyed in Order 66 that like had they left in the movie there would be no book, like he would have just been dead, the story would have been over, like bye-bye.
Every time I think of that deleted scene, I just think of the clone walking up to the Jedi. Is there droids here? No. It always just kills me.
Well, not only that, like don't they end up like blowing up the tank he's in, which has other
Yes.
clones in it, but they don't care because they're just obliterating all the Jedi.
It's such a dumb deleted scene. It just kills me every single time.
Well, also 'cause it's
Lee-
not like fully rendered, so it looks goofy as hell.
Yes, it looks like a PS2 game.
Levi said it is a Gorg,
See, there you go.
which is correct 'cause I just looked it up. And then it says it's not a weird obsession. He's a survivor, and I want to know what he'd be up to. Gosh, Fern.
You're still ripping you
I
on
thought it said
that.
Pam for a second. No, it does say for her. Okay, of course it does.
Most of his stories was told in the Dark Horse comics. I always can't. Sorry, he's only in one episode of the Clone. Is he really only in that one episode of the Clone Wars on the docking bay near that one ship?
Oh my
Is he
god.
really? He's not only in that, is he?
No wonder I didn't remember him.
Yeah, he's in. I remember this. I remember I think we see him maybe in the Giant Temple halls, and we also see him like boarding a ship or something.
Oh my
I'm
god.
This is
pretty
what-
sure.
I remember
I love
this
the Star Wars
like a thing
fandom.
about like what Anakin. Sorry.
No, I was like, I love the Star Wars fandom does this because like they take one character and hyper focus on them. Like I was convinced that Corky was like a main character in the Clone Wars because like I used to get so many TikToks talking about him and how he was like a Kenobi and there was this whole theory. And then I like looked up he's in 2 episodes.
I'll be
So-
honest. I need the details from Julia, like why that became the thing for her. Like, why is Corky Kenobi? Like, Corky in general, like, why is this like her biggest thing in Star Wars? Like, I don't know.
I know she really likes
I'm sure because she loves the romance between Obi-Wan and
Is
Satine.
it the OB teen? Is it
Yeah.
focusing on that? That makes sense.
But it's like extended past that because she has like a genuine actual interest in just like
Yes.
Corky as a character and like what they could do with him. I love it so much.
And there's like a good chance, like there's, well, I'd say there's a non-zero chance that her
Zero the Hut chance.
attention / harassment of Lucasfilm employees is putting some weight on the scale of him showing
Problem.
again in something.
She's just like pushing Matt Martin and Pablo Hidalgo to do it.
I'm not even, because like let's say it's someone they never thought about, and then you have this one rabid fan online who's just like Corky Kenobi. At some point you're like, what if we just like, some fan service, throw him in something, he's still live? Like, I'm not like, everyone's like, speak it into existence. It's like, but if you annoy the right people, like, it can happen.
I will say I'm not fully convinced of Corky and Andor. I will say Kyle Soller bears a striking resemblance to Corky, and it is a little scary, and I know that Lucasfilm's probably just like, this is a white man we can cast, but also I'm like, maybe.
Wait, so Levi says before Clone Wars, Quinlan Vos was a huge character in the comics at the time. He was essentially the main character of the Clone Wars era pre the show.
But sadly,
So is that all legends? Yeah,
the comics are not
legends.
anymore. A lot of those comics are really cool though, and so like maybe at some point they'll like revisit.
Or kind of like a Boba Fett situation where he doesn't really do a lot, and then they make a whole bunch of Legends comics for him, and then people really love him.
Which is why it's funny, because like Boba Fett, like, is all his content is in Legends, because like, and then so he just is a legend because of that. But it's funny that they made that much stuff about him, even though like in the OT he was just like
Nothing.
a sidekick who died real fast. Like he was on screen for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Element also says he's
Literally,
mentioned in Vader. He's mentioned in Vader 2017 and Rebels.
I think he's a part of like
Quinlan
during,
Ross?
I think in issue 4 when they're looking at like the giant list of Jedi and it's like Jocasta Nu. It's like the Jedi High
That's what I
Priority.
was just gonna say. Is it like a just like a list? And then where is he in Rebels?
He's in Rebels?
He's mentioned.
Is it
Or he's
similar
mentioned.
reason? Oh.
Oh, okay.
What is he mentioned in Rebels?
But I feel like
Quinlan Ross was hot in the fan. Was he though? I don't
mean,
remember.
He is hot. I mean,
yeah.
Levi, you're like younger than me, and I don't remember. I watched the show when it was coming out and was active enough. I don't remember, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go dig this up on the forums from 2006. Like,
that are all ripping on Ahsoka.
Yeah, just go to
archived
force.
on the internet.
You go archive.net, just force.net.
Yes.
Boom.
Well, the real test is you have to go on like fanfiction.net or AO3 and see when the first fanfic was written about it.
You have to go before the book came out.
I feel like
obviously.
though that is a
That's
test
cheating.
of when. I think the AO3 test is sort of a test of when like more of the female fans started caring though, because I feel like those like AO3 and fanfiction.net are like pretty female dominated
Yes.
sites
Very.
for some reason, and like the male fans, maybe they write fan fiction but they're like less frequently publishing it. I don't know, maybe out of like fear of embarrassment or something, but like that would be a really good way to see like when somebody became like the sexy man of the week though,
Or my guess is because if him and Obi-Wan interacted, I guarantee you can find a fanfic that is Obi-Wan / Quinlan Vos.
I love like how like we're gonna create a timeline of like, okay, this is when Quinlan Vos became popular. It's the Dark Horse comics, then fan fiction, Clone Wars, and the Dark
Yeah.
Disciple.
But like, I think we might see him again in live action. Like, why not?
Oh,
like,
that would be nice.
like everyone's like, oh, fans are. I'm like, yeah, but like that's what they want to do. It's the point of the show half the time. It's
Yeah.
like, you didn't bring Boba Fett back from that. I didn't say that on purpose.
That was unintentional.
When that became a thing, I was like, that's me.
Service, but also
But,
like a very specific set of fans. Because like if you watch the Clone Wars once, or if you're just a live action fan, you're just gonna be like, that's a guy for sure.
Then to have a whole book on him.
It is funny how much how much different he looks now, like back on Tatooine. Like the weird thing is he was on Tatooine in Mando, and he was like pale and.
Fennec
Boba.
introduced
Boba,
him
yeah.
to some moisturizer and some Anastasia brow wiz. She said,
Yeah.
I was gonna say he
No
does
one-
have eyebrows now.
Also,
"If you're
eyebrows,
rolling
yeah.
with me, you will not look like this."
he
But
got
like, why was he not tan, having lived on a desert planet for like years? I don't understand.
Because he's been in the Sarlacc, man,
Okay.
and his tissue
Somebody
got
also made a
scarred.
really great point that if Boba can get his tan back, then Echo should be able to get his melanin back.
Boba just paid for the nicest like facial
That-
surgery ever.
It is interesting to think that on Camino, like I don't know what kind of lights they have. Maybe they're like sunlight lamps. There's not a lot of sunlight on Camino. Granted, they all live indoors, so until they leave, and they also all wear helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
They wouldn't get that much sun exposure. But
Still
Yeah,
a bad
Boba's-
excuse, I feel.
Yeah.
oh sure, it's
Mhm.
weird how they decide like skin color of like people who are all like genetically the same. Like, this one's whiter.
Yeah.
They're all
Also, I
kinda pale.
did.
They're all
like-
pretty pale. Let's be honest. The clones in animation, they're all pretty.
Yeah.
But the bad bitch
Yeah.
really is like
They're like white guys.
the fact that I've seen people fan casting, like I saw a popular fan cast on TikTok where it was like Benedict Cumberbatch as Crosshair and Paul Bettany as Tech, and I was like, those are full white men.
White
No.
man.
But the thing is,
And then
they
they
would
put
work
Tamara
because
Morrison as Echo, and I was like, you cannot put the Morgan and white men.
Yeah.
They're the same genetics.
I was gonna say the problem is that they do kind of look like them, but it's because for whatever reason in Bad Batch, yeah, they're like the
White.
whitest Maori dudes
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be
I know,
like they're not dark
but
enough to be
the
Maori because that's
idea-
not true either.
No,
Like
but
the
they
genetic
whitewashed-
template they're based on. If you look at
But also,
look at
like
him.
in the Bad Batch, it's clear that they whitewashed several characters.
Kanan.
And then also Saw is
Kanan's
much lighter than Forrest, or is pretty
and
much lighter.
Omega.
and Omega.
looks like a little white girl.
I
with
know
blonde hair.
Kanan's was an animation error
Yeah,
apparently.
because with like the snow, they couldn't like contrast it right. I'm pretty sure, or something like that. So then they made him like
That sounds like a bad explanation after the fact. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know,
They
that's
have like millions and
what I
millions and
heard.
millions of dollars. Like, I think
They
they
want-
can actually. Ooh.
And
They could have made
Saw
them as
is
tan as they
still-
wanted. Yeah, well.
Yeah, I think it was more of like a render thing where they already rendered it. They're like, we already spent so much money rendering the scene. We don't want to go back and re-render it.
I don't want to go back and make him.
But, like-
so,
When you're spending tens of or hundreds, it's probably like tens and tens of millions of dollars. Like when you spend hundreds of $1 millions on a movie and like something doesn't look right and you go do reshoots, it's very expensive to like start like active production back up, but they do it. So like
True.
they say you can't re-render us like because Caleb Dune's not in that much of the show. He's
Yeah.
only in like the first
And
10
also,
minutes.
like,
Oh
they
yeah.
already messed up so bad by putting Freddie Prinze Jr.'s voice.
Oh
with
my
it,
God,
that
Oh
it's
my
so
god.
weird.
No, it's
Look
so weird.
Looking at that and then having like already he looks weird. He doesn't look like Kanan. And then it's like, hello, master. Like, huh? Like, and I'm supposed to be crying 5 minutes
Hello.
after this?
Yes.
Like, I don't think I can. I'm still healing.
why is Levi saying
Oh.
what is spoilers for Saw?
What? Oh, cause
For Saw in Bad Batch?
he's in another book.
Have you not watched Bad Batch?
No.
No, I've watched. No, I'm trying to understand because I know most of Saw's story. I'm just confused at what the spoilers are that would make him
I'm trying to think because
look like that.
I know he's in every media, so I know he's in books, comics, games, shows, and movies.
Is he
obviously.
trying to say that the way he looks is because of some spoiler?
I don't know.
I know
I don't
he.
know.
I don't know.
I know.
It's
he-
just-
It's with him and his.
You know that the rest of us don't know.
I was like, I was like, I know a fair amount about Saw Gerrera, so
Let's see. So Saw's in the Ark, in Clone Wars with his sister, and then he's in Bad Batch when we see him in like the jungle. He's in
Granted,
Jedi Fallen
he
Order
does.
with
Yeah,
Kashy.
Kashyyyk, and then he's in Rebels.
And then
Right.
Rebels.
There's something before that
And then
though.
Rogue
Season
One.
4. Yeah, he's in season 4 of Rebels.
He's
He's in
so
Rogue One, obviously.
And then the other biggest chunk thing he's in is Rebel Rising.
And then he is also in Leia,
Yeah.
Princess of Alderaan, I believe.
Yeah,
Believe I
he's
said
not-
I
that.
read that.
He's not in
He appeared in
it.
Clone Wars before
Like
Rogue
the,
One.
the I
so-
think like the only other like physical description, at least in the books that I've read, is from Rebel Rising.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I know, obviously it's after his death, because Inferno Squadron takes place during the original trilogy. I know the whole book
Yeah.
surrounds them hunting down Saw's like the remaining like rebel leaders.
Yeah.
And
And
the
then
freedom fighters.
oh my god, wait, sorry. Please, Star Wars lawyer, please cosplay Saw, because I have so many Jin and Saw videos that I want so badly for someone to do at a Saw. No one cosplays him. Anyway,
I want to see Chris like. Well, wait. What are we talking like Rogue One like era Saw or like
Which Rogue Ones
Oh.
are we
Is that
talking?
what-
Crazy Saw with
Which
all the
Rogue
hair, or
with the breathing mask?
The ventilator, yeah. Half Vader.
oh, if
Pork
he's in
on it.
Andor, we're getting bald Saw back. That's exciting.
or we can go like Slim Saw from like Fallen Order with like the bald and like.
I was gonna say yeah, like Bad Batch Saw like handsome young man, and then it's like you get to like Rogue One, and you're like, dude, what?
Pork on
what? Someone ate
Look.
parts of this man.
Later, well, okay. He was under a lot of stress.
Yes.
He was in a very horrifying incident where like he almost died. In
Maybe
Rebel
he should
Rising.
have.
So I'm interested to see.
Okay.
No.
I'll be honest. Every time he appears, like I'm like, everyone's gonna whine about this. And
No,
I
I'm
love it.
Same,
I
I'm with
love
Ryan.
everyone who cries
I-
every time they're like, not Saw again.
That's
I'm like-
when people were like, I was like, and the thing that was getting me was when there was because I'm pretty sure he's going to be in Andor because Stellan Skarsgård said that he'd worked with Forrest, and that it makes complete sense. So when people were like, "Oh, Saw shows up in everything," I was like, "But he makes sense in everything. Like he only shows up where
He does.
I'm like,
No,
of
he
course,
does.
One of the most
know about the rebels.
characters is Star Wars.
If it's a show about the Rebel Alliance,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you have him in here? Especially when you avoid completely the whole incident of like, oh, we don't want Jin and
Yeah.
Cassian to meet because he's already ditched her. It's perfect. It is at the prime time
Yeah.
for Forrest or for Saw to be in there.
Yeah, one of my favorite things
No,
to do
yeah.
to screw with the entire in our Discord server, like we talk about VCs, we just like speculate about stuff. One of my favorite things to do is screw with people to be like Saw Gerrera is gonna show up in Kenobi. That's like one of my favorite things to like just screw with people, just like because it
fine
makes
with
sense
that.
too.
Well, Hereth, you were in. I think Brian. I don't know if you were there or not. I was doing my first playthrough of Fallen Order, probably like 2 months ago.
Oh my god,
and
this is great.
right when I got to the part with Saw, I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Why is Saw Gerrera in this?" I was like freaking out.
I haven't gotten that far,
It's
and I
funny.
didn't know he was in the game, but that's fine. I did.
Oh,
It's fine. It's-
Where are you at in the game?
I'm only like an hour into the game. I don't.
Yeah.
You on? Yeah, what plan are you on?
I don't remember
Zephyr?
the names of these. Probably. I haven't played it since June. I'll be honest. Like, there's a lot of stuff I
Okay.
pick up and put down, and then never pick back up again. Like Hannah trying to read the High Republic. So like,
Got him.
I am
Attack.
halfway through Light of the Jedi still. 1 year later.
Exactly.
I've
That's the
gotten
joke.
markedly
That's
closer
the
to
joke,
my first
Hannah.
book.
That was a personal attack.
I'm setting the record straight. I've read half of it. So
Okay, but when was the last
know,
time you read a
jokes
When's
single
the
on
page?
you.
when is the last time you read it?
January?
I
February?
don't know. Not January. I definitely read it on spring break. I might have read like a chapter on an airplane.
Okay, so it's been. a
brought
minute.
it with me one time and I didn't read it. Yeah, but I've been trying. I've been putting in some effort.
Yeah.
It's on my nightstand. It's been sitting on my nightstand since April.
I don't have a physical copy of Light of the Jedi.
I
so
have
can't
read none
pull
of it.
I bought it on
Light of the
Kindle.
Jedi is hard to get through. I recommend if you want to get into the High Republic but you're struggling, do Into the Dark first. It's much. I did that. That's what
I have
Much
read.
Yeah.
I've read the adult novels, and then I got High Republic out, and I've read like 4 novels. Then I have to get back to reading Into the Dark and
You
Outer
gotta finish Thrawn
Shadows.
first.
I'm finishing. I need to finish Thrawn.
Are you gonna read the new book? When does that come out?
Fallen Star.
I do have the
Oh,
High
that's gonna
Republic
be a lot.
comics.
Oh, the comics are good.
waiting for
Yeah.
me. Like 1 through 8, I've already bought it, and I have not opened any of them.
All the new
But
comics, like
I
I'll be
have
honest,
them.
all the current series, like the 2020 series, the High Republic, like they're all really good.
Yeah.
And I'll be like most people don't
I've
read
been
them.
thoroughly enjoying the ones that, because I've been dabbling in some of the other series just for like the crossover event for like War of the Bounty Hunters. Like, let's see what the Vader comic is up to this week.
Yeah.
I haven't been following the Vader comic, but it is quite good.
Did you read up to the Vader comic to where they get to War of the Bounty Hunters to like get to the crossover?
No, it was
Okay.
just like 1 or 2 issues
Okay.
that I was like.
So
Because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, like of what Vader's doing between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That some people don't like because it connects to the new movies.
I wonder who you're referring to there. Huh.
So like it gets.
I've seen the frames or whatever, the panels where it's like he's talking to Palpatine and then he's got like the cloning stuff happening and there's like proto Snoke stuff happening, and I'm very on board with it. So I am kind of caught up to, in general, the allusions that are being made,
Okay.
but
that's on Exegol, which like directly ties to the sequels and the Rise of Skywalker. But so that's why some people who don't like the sequels are mad that they feel like they're kind of like retroactively inserting this storyline into like the original trilogy timeline.
that's all of
connected to
Star Wars.
That's
I don't know
literally
what
all
to
Star
tell you.
Wars.
Like,
That's how they've always done
doubling
this.
back.
Yes, I know. It's
Yeah.
What is
Hannah.
the Clone Wars?
I know.
Yeah. No, for real. It's off
Yeah.
of one line.
Because
And
without
New
the
Hope.
I know, but without the context of the Clone Wars show being inserted between the OT and the prequels, like the prequels don't make as much sense. Like
Agreed.
you have Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and you're like,
Mhm.
what happened here for many years?
Or how Obi-Wan and
Exactly.
Anakin are completely different relationships.
It's such a weirdly structured trilogy, and then like you've got stuff that fills in the gaps, and people act like it was all like that, and it's like no, the movies are set up kind of weird. The time gaps
Yeah.
are odd. What am I supposed to?
Very odd.
Not Obi-Wan. Yoda says something about like the gun the Clone Wars have, and it's like cool. What am I supposed to do with that? You're referencing this one line from A New Hope. Maybe I remember that. Maybe I don't. But like,
Yeah,
am
but
I
the best
is that
is
supposed to make me feel something?
so then they
Like,
fight
and then
Dooku,
They jump forward, it's like,
and then it's the last few days of the war.
Mhm.
Like that's the joke.
Yeah.
is It goes from
Yeah.
the beginning of the Clone Wars
Beginning
to the next
to the
movie
end.
to the last like 3 days.
There are no stakes. Also, the Clone Wars, the entire Clone War has no stakes because it's like they're not fighting for like good and justice. It's like a weird 5D political chess game.
Yeah.
But like you learn to appreciate it anyway because of like the way that people are dealing with being in a useless war through the TV show. But like, if you just had the movies, that does not hold up to the stakes established by the original trilogy whatsoever, you know?
Yeah.
How dare you,
And
Hannah,
it's
say
if
this?
you fill in the gaps, it's great. But
Well, so
Revenge of
I,
the Sith is the greatest Star Wars movie, period, ever, period.
It's the most underrated masterpiece.
well,
Which
so
is
I
funny because it's the most overrated Star Wars movie.
Yeah, now it is.
100%.
By far.
I think it is.
Every Star Wars movie is rated, except I will pull my argument out that I think Solo is the only, as of right now, the only
Underrated.
movie that you can say is underrated. And that could change
agree.
if they start to bring Kira back and like add more stuff that I could see in a couple years. People are gonna be like, I always really liked Solo, and it's an
It was not a bad movie.
I really enjoyed it.
Like,
I think it's
it was
fun.
interesting, but it wasn't like memorable for me. So that's the only reason that I'm like, I forget it exists sometimes because I only saw it the one time because it doesn't like inherently tie into the storyline, so you don't remember to go back and need to watch it so that you can understand the rest of us. But it's not a bad movie by any measure. It's a good movie.
No, it's a good movie.
Crazy,
It's
like important to the storyline movie, I guess.
it's a fun movie. You meet some cool characters, get some cool backstories.
I
Nothing
thought all
wrong with
three.
it. Yeah.
It's a top
But-
five for me.
Hannah,
I see more people online talking about it, like they've
Yeah.
rewatched it recently, and they're like, "It's a good movie," and like I feel like people when they first saw it, they're like they changed Han's character and
Mhm.
they gave him a stupid
better.
origin of the name Solo, and it's like
expecting him to
it doesn't
live up to
matter.
this impossible bar. It never was going to be whatever you thought it was going to be about,
Yes.
like Han Solo, cocky badass, smoking cigars and betting ladies. I don't know, like
Yeah.
But is he not that in the beginning of the movie? Like he's like, we're gonna go like steal some shit and then go on a car chase like through an Imperial
Yeah.
shipyard. Like that's not cool enough.
But he dared to be a dynamic character, like he is in the original source material. But for some reason, that was upsetting.
Like, I feel like people's interpretation, I feel like it's like a comic book thing where people's interpretation of a character becomes their, like, how they think the character is. Kind of like how Luke with Last Jedi, people like think their interpretation of Luke is Luke, but that's not what actually his character is. I think that's what happened with
Yeah.
Han, where people think, oh,
no,
Han's like this.
changed over a period of 30 years? Go figure. That's nuts that people have personalities that are not stagnant. Crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Hannah, so I went to my local comic book store the other day, and I was going to start buying War of the Bounty Hunters, but I didn't know where to start.
You have to like
Oh,
kind
War of
of.
the Bounty. Okay.
Honestly,
So
you
where
should
do
read
you-
the
The
20.
way the War of the Bounty Hunters
Yeah.
works is, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm on a lag and I keep cutting people off.
No, you're
You're
good.
You go. We can hear you fine now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry. The like crossover event starts at actually let me get out my Dr. Afra comics right here. See where it starts. But let's see. So War of the Bounty Hunters is its own like line of the comics. So it's got like its own issues. But then there are also like Dr. Afra issues that are part of War of the Bounty Hunters. Often they'll rehash like the events of the most recent War of the Bounty Hunters comic from their own perspective, or like, I mean, Dr. Afra has not been in the main events of the comic. She really was barely in it, but she was at the party, so it counts. But she was not in like the main line very much. That really follows Boba. But if you want to see like what the various bounty hunters that are in the bounty hunters like line of comics are up to at this party, that all the bounty hunters are together and like bidding for Han Solo over, you can see what, like there's like an issue that follows like, I think IG-88 is one of the issues, and like there's a, I don't know, maybe a Dengar issue, I don't remember. But the like main story things that all tie together are the War of the Bounty Hunters line itself, which is only 5 issues, the Dr. Afra comics, the Vader comics, and the Bounty Hunters comics, and the Star Wars main title
Okay.
like comics
Jeez.
with like Luke and Leia.
Hereth and I were talking
So
about
yeah,
this
they all come
before,
together.
that like honestly one of the best things you can do is even if you just Google War of the Bounty Hunters, it'll bring you, the first link will be the Wikipedia link for it. And
There's
it
a list.
literally
They
it literally
have
has
a
some-
little handy dandy
Yeah, there's-
in the
checklist
book, yeah.
also in
Yep.
the issue of War of the Bounty Hunters at like the back, where it's like, this is what's coming out that like ties into this.
War of the Bounty Hunters
where-
checklist.
This is what comes out this month that you'll need to read to understand the full
Yeah.
storyline. And it's like a lot of
Okay.
comics.
So it's all bidding for Han Solo.
Pretty much.
Yeah, in Carbonite, and he's been like nabbed from his original, captors.
And the one thing that bugs me, again, I haven't read it, but I hate the like OT fans that are like, oh, this retcons the OT because Han was always in Jabba's. I'm like, oh, screw off.
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
He
First
got
of all,
back there, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
There's a lot of time.
Whatever.
There's a lot of time between those movies.
Mhm.
That's where it's like time in Star Wars is
Irrelevant.
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the time they spent in the Millennium Falcon getting to Cloud City,
Mhm.
and how long Luke was on.
Oh
Dagobah.
yeah,
Is it weeks?
It's
Is
a
it
canonic.
month?
It's a
I'm pretty
canonic.
sure it's week. I think it's like, or no, it's like 2 months. or
It's 2 months.
something,
It's.
isn't
I
it?
think it's from a certain point of view. Empire
Something
Strikes
like
Back.
that. Well, because
But-
Luke's with Yoda. No, because Luke's with Yoda for only like 2 weeks, though. I think. Because I remember looking that up whenever I was.
Luke's off being a Mary Sue, not getting full rigorous.
The other thing is,
No,
Luke still has
exactly.
to get
That's
there.
that's exactly why I was looking it up. Because I was like, how long was Luke with Yoda for? And I'm pretty sure it's like.
Hold on.
21
Levi will chime
days
in
or
any minute.
something.
Don't worry. But also,
Yeah.
like, but that's the thing is when you watch the movie though, there's no sense of how
Yeah.
long that takes. It
Yeah.
could be one thing if Han gets off the ship and has like 2 inches of beard, and you're like, oh, they've been on the ship for like 2 months or something. But like, you would have thought they were there for 2 days, like, and Luke was hanging with Yoda for like 2 days. Like, there's not a lot of indication of the passage of time. So like, and then between the movies, there's like a couple years, 2 years, like.
1 year. I think it's 1 year.
Yeah, I think it's
4
a year.
years.
I think it's 3 or 4 between Empire and A New Hope, and then less between
Yeah.
Empire
Okay.
It's-
and
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 480.
It's a long time
480 is
between.
when Empire and Jedi take place, and then
Okay.
Ben Solo is born in 585.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's.
But like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen in that time between Han and or Boba taking Han and Carbonite,
Yeah.
leaving, and it actually arriving safely at Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like, yes, I guess in the when you see the OT without everything else that's come out since, like you just go, okay, Boba went right there, dropped it off, and then C-3PO shows up and,
Of course.
and Leia, and they do the whole thing. Like, fine.
Mhm.
But like, you can't say like there's no way this happened. Like, there's clearly enough space to write in a new story if you want to.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting. Like, it's not like they're just writing in bullshit to like print
course.
comics and sell them. Like, it's a good story. Like, if you read them, you're like, these are
Yeah.
really good comics.
Yeah. And I think
I don't-
Mhm.
people go a little bit too overboard because I think like people hear about these changes and like it like I think most of the issues people have in the fandom is it just changes their perception of like how events play in the saga, and it's like who cares? Okay, so for example, like the Obi-Wan versus Vader stuff, everyone's freaking out over that for like no reason, and it's like, oh my god, they retconned the original trilogy. It's like, no, they didn't. Like, you can point to
Yeah.
evidence in the original trilogy pointing to this like happening.
Yes. There's nothing in canon in the original trilogy that this stuff has like contradicted.
Yeah.
There's just so much like empty space that you could literally write in new movies.
Well, and it's
and
just
it would
like
still fit.
it seems like people are just nitpicking because it's Disney.
Well,
Like no
I
one's
said,
really said any.
there-
I guess there was a lot of hate for prequels, but like, I don't know.
that's
It's
watchable
kind
at
of just
this point.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's
People are
watchable.
just nitpicking because they're Star Wars fans.
Yep.
That's what they do.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Do you guys want to talk
Yeah.
about Marvel at all?
That's what I was just gonna say. But you know, a
Can
fan
I
base
talk
that
about
doesn't.
Andor?
I mean, Marvel fans are getting there now. I mean,
They're getting there now, but they're not.
Wait.
It's not nearly because now it's just like, oh, you haven't been watching since the beginning. You suck.
No, the
I
best outrage
have
I saw.
experienced that first, and like, and I thought the girlies would treat me nice because I was like, there was like some TikTok that I commented on that it was like, no hate to people who haven't watched Age of Ultron and are watching WandaVision, but like, why? And I commented like, honestly, because I hadn't seen Age of Ultron and I was watching and enjoying WandaVision. I was like, honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory, not actually that difficult to follow. Maybe there are some minute details I'm missing, but I'm getting the story perfectly fine. And they were just like
Oh,
ripping me
no.
to shreds. They were like, well, you think you're so much better than us, don't you? You think that you... I was like,
I
oh
think
my
like
god.
you-
It was
you
the
lose some of the
girlies who were
weight.
coming for me.
you lose a little of the weight of like their relationship and like how it developed, but like you still get that, like you understand it
Yeah.
watching
I
the
saw
show.
Infinity War. I know that they're goo goo gaga for each
Exactly.
other. I actually hated Infinity War.
And on top of that,
Goo goo gaga for each other. They're getting in everyone's way.
Yeah.
they
like,
design all these
yeah.
shows to stand on their own, like Marvel, Disney, like all the series. they are 100% written and designed so that if you've seen none of the Star Wars stuff, none of the Marvel stuff,
Yeah.
you can still consume it, because they need people who pay for Disney Plus to be able to watch this stuff and understand it and not get turned off because, like, I don't get this, I don't know what happened before this. Like, they're all designed to be somewhat self-contained and like digestible to the like uninformed audience, but you get more if you know how it connects to the previous media and the stuff to come.
Well, yeah, it's like in Mando. Like, you don't need to watch Clone Wars and Rebels to know what the Darksaber is, but they briefly go over some of its history, so the viewers know what's going on. You don't need to watch that to understand Mando. Yeah, it makes it like cool whenever you see, oh my gosh, that's Bo-Katan. Oh my gosh, that's Boba Fett or whatever.
And like, I'll be honest, it'd be cool because there are people I've heard that like their first thing they ever watched was The Mandalorian, right? Because it was on Disney Plus and they paid for it, so they watched it when it came out. And so like, yeah, they don't know who Boba Fett is, they don't know who Ahsoka is, Bo-Katan, any of these people.
Oh yeah, Ahsoka.
But like, you kind of get this unique opportunity to go back and watch those things they came from and be like, oh, it's this person that I've seen already. Like, it's like the reverse reaction, but like they still get to have this kind of thing like when they see Boba Fett for the first time, if they go back and watch the original trilogy, and it's like, I've seen this character before and like he's a badass. So like, we, you know, they're trying to sit there and gatekeep it, like you don't know his backstory, whatever, but like it's kind of a cool, unique thing to like see it the other way around. It's not like it's ruined because you don't know like who Boba Fett is or how he died or whatever. Like it's cool to like watch him die in, you know, Return of the Jedi, knowing he doesn't die because obviously he comes back. You're like, oh my god, like this is like what happened to him, like this is how he ended up where he is in The Mandalorian. Like, so it's not like, it's kind of like, I don't think people think about that perspective when they're just like, you didn't see what you were supposed to see before this. Like, you have this whole checklist of all the Star Wars and Marvel movies you have to watch. If you don't do all these prerequisites, Hannah, you can't sign up for Marvel 404. You know,
I don't even know what Marvel 404 is.
It was a
it's
joke.
the class on WandaVision, you know.
Oh, I thought he was making a work joke, like you get to send a 404 for him.
I was like, this is college where like you have to take the prerequisites or they won't let you register for the class. And
okay,
like,
no, I fully like thought that might be.
It's not a real property.
Like, this is a demonstration of how little I know about Marvel, because I really thought that you were referencing something. I was like, joke's on you. That's lost on
Jokes on
Yeah,
it's just a made up concept.
Also, speaking of like the whole like perception, like again relating Star Wars to kind of Marvel, like the whole like, oh, I've never seen this, then I went back and watched it. That's what happened with me and Ahsoka. I watched Rebels season 2. Well, obviously I watched the Clone Wars movie as a child, but I didn't really remember it. But I watched Rebels season 2, got attached to Ahsoka, and then went back and watched everything Clone Wars all the way to Mando.
And it's cool because it's almost like you're getting the origin story.
Yeah.
It's like instead, like, so it doesn't matter on it. Like, you can watch Marvel movies. I'll be honest. Like, if you watch them all out of order, that would be weird a little bit. Like, if you jumped around completely randomly, it might just be hard to keep track of in your head, like the timeline, even though obviously they don't all take place sequentially. But Star Wars,
100%.
like, as long as you like watch, like if you want to watch a whole show like all the way through, you could watch them in any order and the movies in any order, and it would still be like a cool experience for the first time.
Yeah, I think like when you're trying to get into Star Wars, like I honestly, like people have like all these like, oh, you should watch it this way and this way. I'm like, just watch the trailer for the first movies in each trilogy and the 2 anthology movies, see which one you like best and watch it, because like it's gonna make sense, you're gonna get it eventually. I know people say like, oh, but if you start out here you miss this, or like if Rogue One and Solo are so different from like the rest of it. But I'm like, but you shouldn't force yourself to sit through stuff you're not interested in. If I had started Star Wars with the Phantom Menace, I don't think I would have watched the rest of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been like, I don't like
that happened to 2 friends of mine. Like, they've both been recommended. You have to start chronologically. Start at, episode 1. Neither of them have ever watched another Star Wars movie. I'm sorry, Phantom Menace is not a good movie to start on if you don't know anything about Star Wars. That is a weird introduction.
So, one of my friends is watching it all for the first time. And she's had the craziest takes ever. So she started 4, 5, 6, then she just finished Attack the Clones yesterday. And guess what her favorite movie is?
Okay, is
Phantom Menace.
Okay.
It's fit. Actually, I think she might have changed it. Once she saw Attack on Titan, I love this one. I'm like,
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
like a risk.
Watch
it's a
all
risk to
9.
make them watch those first.
no. Well, no, she watched 4, 5, 6. She's
Okay,
like, I hate Empire. I'm like, okay, watch all 9. Go back and
hates
watch
Empire.
that, and you'll be like, okay, I can see why this is really good. You know?
Which,
I just think it's funny, like, because I could see that, like, going into it, you probably think it's gonna be like the prequels, and then you get to it, and you're like, oh, this is about Han, Luke, and Leia, and then you get to the prequels, like, oh, this is what I wanted.
Like if the
It's
prequels
like
were
big dramatic.
better movies and like people these days would like, I'll be honest, like obviously everyone's like, oh, we don't hate the prequels anymore, but like they're okay, right? And so to people who aren't Star Wars fans, they don't appreciate them the same way like most Star Wars fans do. But like it would be interesting to watch the prequels, like or watch them chronologically essentially, and like not know that Anakin becomes Darth Vader, but you have to get to that point, obviously.
Yeah.
Like if you burn out after the first 1 or 2 movies, then it wasn't
don't
worth
get
it at
there.
all.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people recommending you start with Rogue One
which I was gonna recommend
because it is like one of the best movies, and so if you want to get someone
And
hooked
it
on Star
lures
Wars,
you in, yeah.
don't like because A New Hope is a really good movie, but it was also designed, it was made in the 70s, and so like for like younger viewers to make them watch that first, it's like it's kind of slow and the effects are kind of cheesy, and you're just like, oh, okay. But if you start them off with Rogue One, it's like it's a modern movie that people really enjoy, and
That's
it's not on its own.
I
Which
think
M?
people treat it. Oh.
M,
Oh, no,
M
you
has
go.
to speak.
Yeah,
M has
go,
to
go.
speak.
No, because I was gonna say, like, I think people always say, like, oh, but Rogue One has such a different tone from it. But I disagree with that still, because I think that it holds a lot of, just because it's darker and it's more of a war movie, the central themes are stuff that is very consistent throughout Star Wars. Like, the biggest message of Rogue One is hope. And that's something that carries on throughout the entire, like, franchise. So I think that, like, I think that's what makes it a good starting place. It's a little bit of like a whoa, but I think it's a good one. And I definitely agree. Like, I think that in The Force Awakens is good. If like, I think Brooke has said this before actually, that like sometimes if they're a Marvel fan or like a fan of like modern action movies, it's good to start them out on The Phantom Menace or Rogue One because that's more like what they've seen.
Yeah.
I said to Carter when after, because he was telling me like his friends watching this, I was like, I guarantee you after it's all said and done, she's gonna say Force Awakens or Rise of Skywalker is gonna be her favorite when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm like, that's why I'm like really eager to, cause like I'm like, what? How do you like it? I'm like, okay, like you love it, awesome.
We need we need to go find like 1,000 people who've never seen Star Wars movies and then assign them different orders to watch them in.
Oh my god!
Because like as people who like like Brooke is saying, like watch The Force Awakens, it's like it's hard for me to see like how you would then react to the movies when you watch the original trilogy and prequels afterwards.
Yeah,
like
I'm
not saying it's bad. It's just like it's just weird because it's like you see him talk to like Vader's helmet. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like
I watched The Force Awakens first. That was my first ever Star Wars movie.
Really?
When you went back and watched the OT, like was it like how did that like make sense to you? Like how did you were you just like
I mean,
is this all
I knew
this is the prequels for the sequels basically.
I knew I was enough in the pop culture lexicon that like I understood Vader.
Okay.
But like I mean definitely like things you miss where it's like I was so focused. Like I think it's good because like I think the first time it really allowed me to focus on like Rey and Finn and Kylo. And then like I did not have the reaction to like Han Solo's death that everyone had. Like I was in a theater opening night and people were like freaking out. I'm like, I met that man an hour ago. I understand he's important. Like I was like, whoa. But I think like it works, and then I went back and watched the OT. I also have a really weird watch order after that, so I don't know if I'm the best person, but like I think it works because like you know enough about the at least Han and Leia that like you can go back and then you realize like see even though you know how Han's story ends, but I don't think that matters much because you go back and you see like how they began, and then you get to see Han and Leia fall in love, which then connects to like Kylo. So I think it works really well. And like, I mean, honestly, I think now I would say if you're starting with The Force Awakens, I would maybe just say continue through to The Rise of Skywalker and then go back to the prequels or OT. But I also think The Force Awakens is not if you just watch The Force Awakens and then go back to the original trilogy, it's kind of nice.
I think, I can see that working both ways. Like, you could be like, because I've seen people recommend like what's called the flashback order, or some people refer it as the machete order.
Machete order.
Which is 4, 5, 6. Oh no, why is it 6? 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I could also see someone doing 7, 4, 5, 6, and then 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. I could see that being in order, how people make that work.
I
That's
think it'd be
basically
very
how I did it.
to watch 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, just like as if they were prequels of prequel. You know what I mean? Like, because like, what if you had made the story the first time that way? And like, granted, everyone's like, this is not the original trilogy. It's like, but it could have been. It just depends on what era he decided to make first. And it's like, if you just watch them like the preceding one and the preceding one, that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I'm kind of adamant that every time I rewatch them, this is weird because every time I want to rewatch a Star Wars movie, like just on its own spontaneously, it's The Last Jedi. So I always end up watching it in a circle and watching The Force Awakens last for some reason. So it's like it starts at 8 and then it goes all the way down and then up and around, and then we end with Force Awakens. I don't know why. I just, it's because I never even plan to be doing a total watch through.
Yeah.
When I start, I just want to watch The Last Jedi, and then it's like, I gotta watch Rise of Skywalker again. Oh God, I gotta emotionally prepare for this one. And then it's like, all right, time to see Phantom Menace. Like,
so
you like hear all the voices. You're like, you know what? You gotta rewatch everything.
So building on like what we were talking about, so like, kind of like, this might be an interesting question to kind of build on top of this. It's not Marvel related, we were talking about Marvel, but it's point aside, but like, we're going back on the Star Wars. So if with the movies we're watching it in any order, how would you factor in like The Mandalorian and then like the new shows like Kenobi and Andor? Like, how would you make that work?
Watch Andor before Rogue One. I so desperately want somebody's introduction to I want so badly to know someone who Andor is the first Star Wars movie or thing they ever watch, and then they watch Rogue One.
That actually may be an interesting experiment.
It'll happen once the show comes out, and then
I want to see a reaction because I don't know if it's like Rogue One is like too much in, like the ending is too much, like everyone dies at this point, but like I want there to be someone who doesn't know that ending and then is like, oh my God, Cassian is in this other movie too, and it's just.
Oh, we want to hear. Wait. We want to hear.
I really think that what that would result in would be like, Cassian's the main character of Star Wars. Obviously, he's not going to die because they're going to get rescued at the last second, and then they don't.
Well, because the funniest thing is like you go into that, he's not even the main character. Like he's a big character, but like Jin is the main character of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would like traumatize a child. Oh my God. Because I've always like jokingly recommended to people, because like obviously when it comes to like showing kids Star Wars, I feel like starting them with Clone Wars is kind of like a good way to get them in, and then like 4, 5, 6
or Rebels.
But like showing someone, I always said, imagine you don't show them Revenge of the Sith, you just go Clone Wars season 7, and then you get to Siege of Mandalore, just like to see how much you can confuse people.
But I actually think for kids, Rebels might be the best way. Mm-hmm. Because I know so one of my wrestling coaches has little kids, and he knows I really like Star Wars, and asked me like, I think they watched all the movies, and like, what should we do now? And I just said, watch Rebels. And he said now every single day when he comes home from work, they have Rebels on. Because it's pretty kid friendly.
Yeah.
It's so kid friendly and it's so good.
Yeah.
What if you watched Clone Wars first all the way through, and you get to like Siege of Mandalore and then the ending? Like, unless like obviously if you're old enough, you know like pop culture, like Anakin is Darth Vader. Like at the end when you see Darth Vader, you're like, who is that?
Mm-hmm. And then you go back to Revenge of the Sith, and
they don't show the answer.
Yeah.
That'd be very strange. I'm not saying it's bad. It would just be a very interesting way to be introduced to Darth Vader, and then go back and watch the original trilogy or the prequels or whatever.
But also, like, getting someone to
Yeah.
watch a 7-season show would be really hard.
It's the daunting task of like anytime anyone's like, "Oh, you should watch
Yeah.
this anime."
No, but you know
and it's got,
what?
like,
They
300
have
episodes.
teased Darth Vader.
What'd you say?
They teased Darth Vader in the Mortis arc, so that person would know that Anakin becomes Vader via
Yeah.
Depends on how old they are
Because
and
it's
how
like, look
how
what
attentive they
you
are.
become, and then it's the helmet.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would.
A kid might not notice. A teenager possibly would. An adult would.
100%, yeah.
But,
I'm
like,
I don't
generalizing,
think
obviously.
anyone would not know the Vader breath or the helmet, though. I think that is too much to ask.
Probably. But
Yeah.
like I said, if they also know about anything about Darth Vader or whatever, like obviously, I'm talking you show like an 8-year-old who doesn't know a lot of movies.
Yeah.
We need some test groups for this.
I know we need to
An
like
experiment.
send people on missions just to like okay, watch it in this order. Okay, watch it in this order. Like
No. First step, we're gonna raise people in caves, and they're not gonna experience
My
any
God.
media or the internet.
I was just gonna take like children in your neighborhood, but
Or we just start cloning people, so then it's a base.
oh my
Sure,
god.
Like the
not?
same thing every time, different reaction.
We're trying to like correct for the variable, so we literally just have a clone of one person.
The only orders we have to ignore is release order, chronological, machete. Everything up is up for grabs. Because you know those three work.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
'cause
could
you
throw
know-
them in there. But you gotta have the clone watch like, or you'd have to have like 100 clones, and like each one, you'd have to have like 10 watches of this version, 10 watches of this version, 10 watches of this version. And you get the data. You That's some interesting questions.
But
Wow.
again,
I don't.
oh, sorry, go Carter.
Oh no, you go.
Again, I was trying to segue subtly with the watch orders. I keep seeing everyone in the chat wants some Andor talk.
There's like,
Nothing.
what are we supposed to talk about though? We have like
Brian.
so
Go.
little.
I
Okay, Em,
can talk about
go.
Andor.
Okay, you can talk all you want. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I don't want to
No, you go.
Then-
you know,
No.
take over.
Why not?
Wanna hear
Why
it.
not?
Why not to go?
Well,
We
you
wanna
have
hear it.
question- Like, I don't want to, or do you just want to hear my theories and thoughts that I have
Sure.
based on?
Why not? Let's go.
Quite
Let's
okay.
speculate.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so as I've said this multiple times, I am almost positive they are going to give Cassian Andor a mentor figure. He mentioned one for a line in the Rogue One novelization, and Star Wars loves to do that. I think it's going to be played by Stellan Skarsgård for no reason other than he said that he worked with Saw, so I think that they work together as rebels. That's my number one, and I think that mentor figure is going to die or lead the rebellion or something, because they're not, at least we don't get an understanding that they are in Rogue One, or that Cassian has a lot of friends besides K2SO in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people. I think that clearly I think the Empire is going to be the main villain, but I think we might see some crime syndicate stuff, and I think that could tie in potentially to some like Book of Boba or War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, or just general crime syndicate. I know that Andy Serkis was rumored. That's not at all confirmed. And I know people had a lot of theories on him. I don't think he's playing Snoke, because
No.
it doesn't really make sense. And I don't think they touch cloning in Andor, because they seem to be taking it in the Bad Batch. So I personally think that if Andy Serkis is in it, I know people have theories that he's going to play Zeb. I am also not convinced of that, just because Andor takes place in 5 BBY, and that's the same time as the first season of Rebels, where the Ghost Crew is operating largely as their own rebel cell. So I have questions about them meeting before Yavin 4,
So.
because we.
Sorry, did I cut you off? Sorry.
No. Oh no, I thought you were saying something.
No. Sorry, there's a really bad delay on the site for whatever reason. But I was gonna say there is a chance that I've been speculating about on Andor, and we do know it takes place during Rebel Season 1, and there is a couple episodes where Hera just disappears, and she's like, "Oh, I was off doing a secret mission," and Sabine's like, "What are you doing? What if she runs off?" and meets up with Andor for Fulcrum
True.
missions, and she's doing stuff with Cassian.
True. I just wonder because I know that I wonder about the crossover because Bail Organa has not been pulled in. From our understanding,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any rumors about him in it, and
Neither
he
have
wasn't
I.
announced with the initial cast. Because the Ghost Crew is a part of his cell specifically, but I know that also like this was the time where I think like Mon Mothma and Bail were starting to combine. And Mon Mothma is going to be in the show, which leads me to believe that Cassian is in her rebel cell. So that's I don't know. I think the most likely to me though of the Rebels crew has been Hera and Zeb, just because I don't know if they would cast whole new actors for Sabine and Ezra so they could be, like 14 and 16 or how old they are. And I don't know if they've cast a canon actor just for this.
Are we assuming that like when the show starts off, like he's already like working as a rebel, like in a rebel cell?
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
also
are we
the
gonna get his introduction? Like, because he has some separatist uproots, right?
Yes,
We kind of need some. What are the separatists doing after the Clone Wars? Which this could be that bridge.
Yeah, but this show takes place so far after that I wonder.
Yes.
I
mean,
True.
because he was like 6 during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, like Rogue One, you could go all the way back to the beginning. For like
I do.
Yeah.
I've also thought that they might do, because I think that they're going to try, or at least my hope is that they'll draw some specific parallels between Cassian and Jin's story to continue the foil that they set up in Rogue One. And that's part of the mentor figure thing, is if you have a mentor figure that you use that mirrors Saw and Jin really nicely. So if they do that, I've also thought like, they could do an opening scene like Rogue One where it shows Cassian and his parents, because we know at least his dad is dead. So they could show that. I don't know. And he like threw bottles at clone troopers when he was like 6. So maybe that's our flashback. But I don't know how much they continue the separatist stuff because of how long it is.
True. We could. Maybe we could just see like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because just like the Empire, like how the Empire doesn't really die out after the OT, and doesn't die out until even like Mando. We still see sparks. But like I feel like the Separatists are still gonna have some little sparks that are somewhere in the galaxy.
Well, what's interesting is I think there was a rebel cell in the system where Cassian's home planet was too, that was brought in the Rebel Alliance like by Mon Mothma.
Because that does kind of make sense with like, I'm not trying to like characterize separatists as like, oh, they are more likely to be the rebellion, but I feel like they are more likely to be the part of the rebellion just because of like how it functions and how it works. I feel like separatists kind of more aligned towards the rebellion than the Empire. And I agree.
Yeah. No, I mean.
Oh. So. I love how you just flashed your phone for fantasy.
Fantasy score. Carter,
Oh, no.
it has not gone well for you. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm actually shocked.
What happened?
You're down by almost 30 points on me right now. The game is
In
fourth
fantasy?
quarter. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's alright. It is what it is.
I thought I was gonna lose this week bad. So, anyways,
Anyway, yeah, Andor should be very interesting, and Hannah's back.
Hannah's returned.
I'm back.
After
Sorry.
the Andor
missed
discussion.
it.
Alarm was. I did not miss. I simply went on. I was eating. I didn't want to listen to a mukbang.
that's fine.
But my food was coming out of the. I was like, I gotta take a
You're
moment.
good.
But no, I was
Julia gets a lot of my unfiltered, insane Andor thoughts because she's also invested in the show, specifically Kyle Soller. So we have about 1,000,001 theories about who Kyle could play. We some of them are more out there. We did throw out Hux's dad as a possibility.
Hux's dad.
And then we had
I would like to see some Brundle Hux. I don't know about that context, but like I would like to see some Brundle Hux.
He could be. I think our idea was basically like he was like a trainer or something, and so we were like, oh, Cassian could go like undercover and meet him.
It would have been cool. Like, it's so early. Like, you couldn't actually have like Donald Gleason's father play him because he's like way too old. But it would have been cool if like his actual dad could have played his dad in Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is like decades earlier. There's no way like Brendan Gleeson makes any sense.
Well, they could.
At this point in time,
they could do it depending on the era. No, depending on the era, they could do it. Like if it's like Mando season time, they could make it work.
But when does he die? When does?
I haven't read the Alphabet trilogy yet.
His dad. Yeah, neither have I.
I think he's also in the Alphabet Squadron books, if I remember. If I heard
that's
correctly.
All. That's pretty early. Anyways, yes, Andor.
Yeah.
Very excited for Andor.
Very excited. You just like got me really excited for it. Because I wasn't.
Exactly.
I felt bad. I felt like I was talking.
No,
he died at 30.
We wanted to hear it.
So actually, he died pretty late on 30 ABY.
Because the original plan was we're going to talk about Andor because I thought a trailer was going to come out. I was like preparing for that.
My new completely unfounded blind faith theory is because we have not gotten an unofficial Andor update in a year. I think it's possible maybe that we could get something on December 16th because that is the 5-year anniversary of Rogue One's release. So that's my crazy unfounded theory, but it kind of maybe a little bit makes sense because it's a year after Disney Investor Day. I know that Andor is not coming out until like late fall next year, but I do think that like it would be nice to get a little like reminder it's coming and maybe like here's the character names because like I think unlike Kenobi, we're gonna see a lot more characters who are less connected to other stuff. Like I still think we're gonna see quite a few, but like I do think a lot of the newer actors are gonna just be like new Rebel character that like we could potentially get like a name for. Not be, like, revealing the entire plot.
I'm in favor of that as well because, you know, like with Mando, it was funny. It was a bit that he was stumbling around the galaxy, interacting with all of the most iconic characters and not knowing who they were. It was a gag. Yeah. But, like, not every show needs to be that. And I truly do hope that at least, you know, Andor in particular is focused on let's explore the rebellion and maybe not keep bringing in all of these cameos.
Yeah, and like with like you already have Mon Mothma going in, and then like it's rumored but like basically confirmed Saw Gerrera plus Cassian himself being an already established character that like I do think that you don't have to do as many cameos to like place it either. Yeah. To be like, oh, this is where it takes place in it, because it's like, okay, well, I know if this character's here and this character's here, then it's in that. Plus, I just want, like Hannah, I want to see more of the rebellion, and that's a little bit my hesitation with the Ghost Crew showing up, because I feel like the rebellion is so big, we don't need to see this. We got 4 seasons of a TV show on, or even Leia, or Leia would be still not in the rebellion, but like, even Leia, who, like, once again, we saw her really operating in the rebellion.
So...
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Is he gonna have a team? Like, is he gonna have a crew that he assembles in the show?
That'll be interesting to see.
Well, we know K2 is not in this.
Oh, that's sad, actually. I hadn't really thought about whether or not K2 was in it. I guess I just assumed that they went together.
Yeah,
that's a little.
He wasn't. Alan Tudyk was attached in like before, and then I think things changed because in an interview he said no, but if there's more than 1 season, they have plans for him. Yeah. So my guess is that they originally thought Andor was going to be maybe a mini series, and then Disney said and maybe we'll do more than one season, so they decided to hold off K2, which I get why people would be upset by, but I also do like the idea of seeing Cassian before and after, before K2, to see how much his life was affected by K2.
Yeah.
Because we know that, like, and especially because we know that, like, K2 has a very particular affection for Cassian. Like, his dying thought is about how nice it would be if Cassian lived and escaped Scarab.
Oh, I forgot about that. Thanks.
Yeah, so like it's like to see Cassian before that and then see their relationship really build instead of just like throwing us in with them already as like partners, I think is something that could be very interesting and make that like ultimate sacrifice of K2SO specifically for Cassian even more heartbreaking.
I want a gag where like they infiltrate an Imperial facility and like there are K2 units and like none of them are like K2SO.
Yeah.
But like as they like deal with them at some point later on, he's like those would be pretty useful to have one of those, and like that's it. That's the whole gag. And they're just like and then he doesn't take any of them with him because that's not K2SO.
I swear in one of the set photos there was like someone on stilts and I was like, could that like, and it was like around a bunch of other Empire stuff, and I do think it makes sense to like at least like put that little Easter egg of like, oh, it's KX security droids.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would make some sense.
It would
Also,
make a
like
lot
the
of
fact
sense.
that like you have to like in the Star Wars universe, like something like that like has to have existed, even though we've never seen them until Rogue One. So it's like you might
Then
as well
Fallen
show them
Order.
off a little bit. Well, Fallen Order came out afterwards.
Oh wait, have you got to that point, Brian?
No,
Somebody
Yeah,
said,
but I've seen
and
people fight them.
I don't know if this is true. Other people can lore check me, but like that K2 was kind of specifically the reason that they stopped using those droids because they realized that like they were reprogrammable and they didn't want the rebels to be able to take more of them. I don't know if that's like a canon thing or if that was like just someone's like head canon. It does kind of make sense that like, but I also think we see. Like, I don't know. I can't remember if we see some K2 droids in Rogue One that aren't K2SO.
Oh yeah, you see it
but
on
they're also on
Scarif.
Scarif. So, I guess the other reasoning could be there was a whole bunch of them on Scarif and no more Scarif. So
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
With Andor, I feel like again, like what everyone's talking about. I think everyone's getting so hyped about like Kenobi, Ahsoka. I think Acolyte. I think Andor's just kind of falling to the back of the train, along with Book of Boba. At the same time, I feel like those two shows are the most like I feel like are underrated with the Star Wars lineup. I will say Lando, but we don't know anything about Lando either. I would say those three are probably the most underrated.
Am I like? I mean, obviously people don't talk about Andor as much, but like honestly, like the show I'm the least excited for right now is Ahsoka. Just
Really?
like I'm not like it's not like I don't want it. I
Yeah,
do want
of
the
course.
Ahsoka show. It's just like I just don't care about it that much right now because like I really want the Lando show. I really want the Andor show. Like Ahsoka will be exciting when it comes, but I'm not like sitting here like vibrating about it right now.
Of course.
So
Ahsoka's
This
still
seems
far
so
away
far
to
off.
like.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty far.
And to be fair, like Andor too, like it gets me about Andor because like I feel like people don't know that like it has been like greenlit since 2018, and before Rogue One even came out, they were talking with Diego about doing another Cassian Andor project. So like I feel like people like kind of think that it was just one of those shows that they threw in like Disney Investor Day with like the rest of them, but like no, like it has been something that's been in progress for many years and was delayed unfortunately due to COVID.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
wasn't it originally a movie, and then after Solo bombed, they were like, was making a TV show?
I think Andor was always a movie or always a TV show because it was announced after Solo. Like it was officially announced in 2018 after Solo, so I think it was always a TV show. I don't know. I think
yeah,
it's hard to. I know because I know Kenobi and Boba were originally movies,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
but
but once like they solidified plans for Disney Plus, they were like, we need series. These shows make more sense, I think, as series anyways, because like imagine like instead of getting like Mando or Kenobi or Book of Boba, like you just get a 2-hour movie instead of like 6 or 8 or 12 episodes of
Exactly.
of this. So
I definitely
Although-
don't think.
some people would tell you that it would cut out all the filler.
Oh my god.
Bad. No more
I
filler.
They're just like, oh my
Only-
god.
Only essential plot points.
Every time I'm just like, like, even in the Discord, like we would watch like Bad Batch and like
That episode sucked. It was just filler.
Filler.
and I'd like wait for like a couple certain people.
It's
to be
like-
that was filler. That was so much filler. Why did they do this? Why did
It's like, okay. I would always be like, okay, yeah, it was filler, but we got some character development, and not every episode has to be essential to plot point.
Like, you can
It's
watch.
not like it's hard to determine like what is essential because
Yeah.
like again, if
Yeah,
it's character
Because like, oh, if this doesn't happen, like the one
Yes.
episode where Omega was gambling, like I remember everyone was complaining so much about that episode. It's like, well, if Omega doesn't gamble right, then they can't do what's gonna happen in the next episode, and that doesn't. It's just like a butterfly effect. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
yeah, sort of.
That's how
What-
plots work.
Yeah,
Things happen because of other
Things happen because other
Not-
things happened before them.
not every day
those
of
are-
your life is important,
Also,
It's
like,
But they are
Nice
because
seeing
every step
character
on
but they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
every step on the path has gotten you to here, and it's like even if the small step seems inconsequential, like you wouldn't be where you are if that one thing didn't happen.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like hard to remove like even the smallest thing from a character's timeline or your own and say like you wouldn't be where you are today if that didn't happen.
I've seen things that was like a fly affected the Super Bowl, and they're like, well, if this fly didn't knock over this leaf, then this leaf wouldn't have
Oh, like,
And that's butterfly
got run
effect,
over
yes.
by this car, then this car wouldn't have crunched, and then if that car didn't crunch, then this driver wouldn't have turned slightly to the left, and then it keeps going until eventually.
it's just a cause and effect thing, and again, I feel like again, like people like over analyze like what is filler and what isn't, because like I remember during our reactions card where we would be like, well, this happened, this happened, this happened. Like we would predict what would happen with the fandom. We'd be like, it's
this,
fine.
This wasn't like. I remember my one friend who would always stay up watch all the episodes, and he'd be like, "Oh, that episode sucked." I'm like, it didn't suck. I don't think nothing really like sucks. There's nothing I'm like, oh my gosh, this episode is a catastrophe. But like, I'm like, oh,
Maybe it
it's
didn't
just-
capture your attention as much as you thought. It wasn't as
Yeah.
exciting as you'd hoped it would be. But like with a show like Bad Batch, it's like not every episode in a 16 episode season is going to be just like constant action,
Yeah.
explosions, fighting, because
Well,
like
look, even like
that would
it's-
also get like you'd be desensitized to that pretty fast too, and it would just be boring also.
Yeah, it's
And I
like
feel like-
look.
Oh.
Sorry, you
There
go.
you go.
Oh no, I was gonna say with like Mando and a little bit Bad Batch too. I felt like some of it was like people had all these expectations for like characters they wanted to see and things they wanted to happen. That like when it didn't happen, they just called an episode filler. Like I found that happening a lot with Mando when people kept saying like, "Oh, this episode was filler," and it was like because Ahsoka isn't here yet, and it's like, well, it's not filler because the show is The Mandalorian, and we followed the Mandalorian, the main character, doing stuff. That's like the same with the Bad Batch. Is like, you know, like we were following the Bad Batch, having character moments, and especially since I felt like that was like a bigger complaint with the Bad Batch was like some people were like, oh well, it felt like we weren't getting like character moments, and then when we were getting them, people were like, well, that was filler. And it's like, well, what do you want? Because we can't. It's hard to have character development all the time. It's just the Bad Batch doing like fighting some like a bunch of other clones or like like fighting like being captured by the Empire or whatever. Like it's harder to have the moments that you want and it for not to be like a kind of like standstill in the story per se.
It just feels better whenever like, oh, you wait 3 episodes and a banger comes on. You're like, yeah.
And I'll be honest, like some of the best and most like the moments that like really are the most character development are like the quiet kind of like they're not action sequences. Like in Mando, like one of the best sequences is when they're him and Mayfeld are in the Imperial base, like just talking.
Yes.
Like the tank,
Yes.
rolling in, fighting off the locals was cool. But
Mhm.
like the best part of that episode, other than like the seismic charges, obviously, is when they're talking. Like
Yeah.
that's what happens in those moments.
Yeah, talking about Operation Cinder and everything.
Yes.
That's
Or like
awesome.
Bad Batch. Or like Bad Batch when it was like that's why I liked the second half of the Bad Batch finale, because like we had all those moments where they're just walking through the tunnel and they're just like talking to Crosshair, and I was like, I feel like this is what we've been like
Yes.
building to, and it's a glimpse into each character and their reaction to like this event that has been happening for the entire season, and like this is the conclusion that I would want, or like I wanted for like these characters.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which Bad Batch season 2, I think it'd be very interesting also, because there's a lot of loose ends
Yeah.
that need to be
Do
tied.
you guys think they're gonna do a time skip?
Yeah, I think I'd say about a couple months probably. Not too much, but not too little. Because my theory for Bad Batch has always been is the show is going to be about 3 to 4 seasons, and they're going to skip a little bit every single time. And I think it's going to end right around when Fallen Order takes place, like 5 years after. I think is when it's going to like officially end. Because I think 5 years is enough of a window where it's not too big, where you're like, where are they during Rebels? But it's not too small where you're like, oh, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Because Bad Batch ends what 1 year after Revenge of the Sith is when it officially like wraps.
hmm
So I think being able to like maybe a year time jump would make sense. Like, so we get 2 years and then 3 years and then we just end with like the fourth.
I just really don't want the Inquisitor, or I don't want the Inquisitors to kill off the Bad Batch. That's my one request. I don't want like a Vader Rogue One scene with the Grand Inquisitor and Wrecker.
But the question is always like, unless they stumble upon the Grand Inquisitors, like either on a mission or something, like, does the Empire dispatch a Grand Inquisitor for like anything less than like
Yeah.
a huge threat? Like, would they send them out for a bunch of rogue clones? Like,
No.
does that meet their standards?
they
of, like,
send-
dispatching them?
Like they sent the sixth brother out for Ahsoka.
Yeah,
But she's
And
that's like
former
any Jedi
Jedi.
meets the standard of
It's
sending
true.
out
I
at least
guess.
an Inquisitor. But like a rogue clone squadron group, it's like, I don't know, would they bother? Like, because they don't think like anything like that would be that big of a threat.
yeah.
True.
So I don't know.
I also saw somebody saying that like, oh, like maybe Crosshair will just like lie and say that they all died and he was the only survivor, which would then also like further the Empire like not really caring and wanting to look for them.
But
That
if
makes
he
sense.
told them that, would they then just kill him to get rid of the last of them?
Or
Yeah, I don't know.
that could be Crosshair's
know.
character arc, as he lied to the Empire, and the Empire slowly starting to figure it out, and then Crosshair has to deal with recollections of him lying to the Empire, and then
Because they're also trying to downsize all
Yeah.
the clones. So at a certain point, it's like, even if they have use for them, it's just like they just want to get rid of the last of the clones at a certain point. And there will become like
Yeah.
a day where, other than the clones that like turned to be part of the rebellion, like all the empirical clones, at some point will cease to exist.
No, yeah, for sure.
for sure.
I think
I've
that
also
might be a
thought the
good.
Bad
Oh.
No, go, because I was just gonna
I
wrap
was-
it up.
I was gonna say I think the Bad Batch could have a sort of like Rex type arc where they end up joining the rebellion, or at least I guess this early on it would be a rebel cell. That is, I think especially that seems to be where Omega's character arc is sort of going, is this idea that she really wants to help people, and at least Hunter is more resistant to that. So I think that could be interesting, and then also at least kind of give Crosshair another reason to be hunting them, because if he's not like maybe specifically hunting the Bad Batch, he is hunting rebels who the Bad Batch just happen to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think, going back to Bad Batch before wrapping it up, I like the finale, but I think people went a little too far with the whole like, oh, it didn't do too much. Personally, I would have loved one more scene with Crosshair because I think me and Element were talking about this in a VC once. We're about how we would have preferred it to end. I think I would have liked, like what you said, is like we see Crosshair like on Camino, the Empire show up, pick him up, and they're like, "Where's the rest of the batch?" And like he just looks at the water and like they're dead, and it just cuts to black. Like something like that would have been perfect.
I remember I was freaking out because I was like, they're not killing Omega right now. They are not and I would say to go watch our reaction, but then someone forgot to hit record.
Wait, what do you mean?
The finale episode, we didn't hit record. Remember you
I
watched.
thought you
No, I
didn't
forgot-
you go back and re-record it or something? No.
No, what? It's just the discussion at the end.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Not,
So
not one
I
of the
was
greatest moments.
freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, they are not killing off Omega. They can't. I was about to cry.
I think it may have the audio for it, but not the video. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think
What,
that's it.
what was your reaction to finding out that Crosshair didn't have his ship like the whole time?
Oh, you can see that. It's in episode 11. You
Yeah.
can see our reactions to that. We're freaking out.
Oh yeah, that's what that was from.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember. That's like we needed to turn that into a GIF. These two. What?
Hey, yeah.
What? What?
But yeah, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up. This was an amazing conversation, and I'd love to have all you guys back on because that was so fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes, because a lot of times we do like either character-driven episodes or lore-driven episodes, but I think every once in a while it's good to just kind of sit back and have a good time talking about good old Star Wars. We want to talk about Marvel in case, because that's kind of like our backup plan in case we didn't get anything in Star Wars, but
You turned into a great
that was
conversation.
fun. Yeah, it was an
Golden
amazing
episode,
conversation.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, which was fun. Shouts to people on the chat real quick. We got Kieran Barr, Brooke, B_Dazzler, Cal Fourier, Element 7, Star Wars Lawyer, Pods on Podcast, Levi Bond, John Ski, Forward Into the Black, X-Core Gamer Skills, Nico Skywalker. My chat doesn't go up the whole way, so I can't see everyone else. I'm trying to think who else joined earlier.
I'm just gonna look at the chat. I don't think anyone else joined. I think
St. Pat.
St. Pat was here in the
St.
beginning.
Pat, yeah,
Aiden.
shout out.
Aiden.
Hayden was here for a
Yeah.
little bit. Luke was here for a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, for missing you, I'm sorry. But yeah, awesome. Thank you guys all for joining. We had an amazing talking about just kind of everything. Great episode. Again, thank you guys all for coming on. So just to kind of close things out, who are you and where can we find you? And we'll go Hannah first.
Sure, yeah. Thanks so much for having us. My name's Hannah, Discount Bo-Katan on TikTok, and I think on YouTube as well. And yeah, thanks so much.
You're welcome. And M?
Thank you for having me and letting me rant about Andor, even though I know that no one really cares, and I force a lot of people to listen to me. I'm sorry, but you can find me on TikTok at StardustM.
Awesome. And Mr. Beard?
I'm Brian. I'm on Twitter at GingerBeardMan. All the E's are 3s. And I like to get into fights about Star Wars and politics.
That's literally the best way to sum you up.
And then, you know where to find me and Hereth.
Yeah.
So, what's next week's episode?
Next week's episode. No, we're going Legends, then Thrawn.
Oh yeah, we already had a Palpatine episode. I forgot. Yeah, so
Like
Legends,
last
which will be it was last week. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We had Kylo last week,
But-
Carter.
What?
We had Kylo last week. There will be
Oh
Nick.
yeah, that's right. It all gets confused, but so yeah, Legends, which will be interesting because I've read part of Plagueis, and that's it.
0. This is gonna be an interesting episode.
So it's gonna be more of like a introduction if you haven't read any Legends, which we haven't. You have some awesome like Legends experts coming in to be like, hey, how do you get started? Because there's hundreds of books to read. So thank you guys all for joining us, and we'll see you next week on They Fly Now. May the Force be with you.
Always.